Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh Hardy. I'm the student recruiter here at the School of Nursing. And one of my job duties here is to coordinate orientation each semester. So this is a little unorthodox. We've had to deal with that this past year, but we appreciate you guys working with us, joining us virtually today. And we're very much looking forward to getting back to normal a little bit soon. Just some housekeeping things. I think we're okay on bandwidth, but if things start to get to freeze up a little bit, sometimes it helps to turn off your cameras. That frees up things a little bit more, but I think we're okay at this point. So if you would like to show your shining faces this morning, please feel free to do that. We would ask that you please make sure you remain muted unless you have a question that you need to ask later on today. But you can also do that via the chat box as well if you have some questions. We will be meeting virtually this morning with your faculty, your program directors, as well as your faculty for your summer courses. And then later today, you'll be meeting with your faculty advisors in separate breakout rooms, and then also with your house leaders, which are our senior student ambassadors, who are going to be assigned to you for this next year, just to kind of be a resource for you guys on the student level, to help you kind of get adjusted to school here at the School of Nursing. So if you have not received those invites to those separate meetings, please email me. I'm going to type my email address in here shortly. Please email me and let me know you haven't gotten those invites, and we'll get that all sorted out before you have to break out for those meetings at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So I think that's pretty much everything I needed to cover housekeeping wise. First, you're going to hear from our Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Programs, Dr. McElwain, and then also our traditional BSN Program Director, Dr. Lee, this morning. So I'll go ahead and introduce them and let them say hello to you guys and kick things off. Thank y'all so much, and welcome to the School of Nursing.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, everybody. So just remember to mute your mics. I heard somebody's little dog barking, so always cute. We love dogs, but just FYI, because sometimes you forget that you did not mute your mic. But anyway, welcome to the School of Nursing. I'm so excited to see all the faces and that I actually have somebody to talk to that I see online. It's difficult being virtual sometimes, I understand. You feel like, am I really there or not? How much connection do we have? But to introduce myself, my name is Dr. Sharon McElwain, or you can call me Dr. Mac for short. Sometimes that's a little bit easier. I teach here at the School of Nursing in our accelerated BSN program. And as of July 1st, I will be your Assistant Dean for undergraduate programs. And I'm excited to be a part of your path here as you move on to becoming a nurse. It's very exciting. Thank you for choosing UMC to be your school of choice. And I thought about before today, I was like, what am I going to tell these students? They're all excited. Half of them might not hear half of what we're saying because your adrenaline's pumping so much and you're so excited about your first day of school. You might be a little bit nervous or unsure of what might happen. So as I thought about that, I said, you know, it's been 30 years since I sat in their spot as sitting in orientation for my first day of school, but I can still remember feeling exactly what you're feeling. So if you think about anything or take anything away from today, it's remember how you feel right now. Bottle that emotion, those nerves, the excitement, the uncertainty, the can't wait for the next thing to happen, can't wait for me to stop talking so you can hear about what's going to happen your first semester of school. Bottle that and take it with you as you move through your program. That is going to be that energy that you need to get you through the next 2 years. So you have that as one big piece of it. The other big piece that you have is your faculty. You have excellent faculty that will be teaching you throughout your 2 years here in nursing school, and utilize them. They are the ones who are going to help you get through the hard times and the easy times, and they are very accessible, They're there for you and will help you through this program. So use your excitement and your energy, use your faculty that you have at your disposal when you need them to help you through this program, and you will all be excellent nurses at the end of this 2-year program. So congratulations on being accepted and starting on your journey. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lee. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. McElwain. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nikki Lee. I am the director of the traditional BSN program. And I know that you see up there that it has a different name. My government name is Kishana. That's a little bit challenging to say. So most people just call me Nikki, or you can call me Dr. Lee. As I stated, I am the director of the traditional BSN program here, so you will be seeing me quite frequently throughout the next 2 years. We'll become great friends. I'm here this morning to talk to you guys about, give you an idea of an overview of the program and some of the things that you can expect from us. First of all, I know that while this meeting is virtual, we are looking forward to seeing your smiling faces on campus on June 1st. We are so excited to have you all come here because we have not had a full classroom of students in over a year due to the pandemic. I think that that is a good segue for me to pull up my PowerPoint presentation because I have some information that you guys need to see in print related to our policies here and how we are dealing with COVID-19. All right. Can everyone see that? I see one person, Kristen Robertson. If you can see that, would you give me a thumbs up? Thank you, ma'am. That's awesome. Okay, so again, this is traditional BSN orientation. I'm going to advance to the next slide. Maybe. There we go. So COVID-19 and on-campus activities. It is highlighted in bold and bolded. Please do not come to campus if you are feeling ill or have symptoms, or if you had very close contact with anyone who is positive for COVID-19. If you have symptoms that are concerning, cough, fever, runny nose, sore throat, shortness of breath, fatigue, body aches, oh, I don't have what? Technical difficulties. In any case, I think we're just going.
If you go to the top where it says display settings, you can choose the other monitor, Nikki. Yeah, swap. There you
go. Something I didn't know. We are still working our way through technology here. I've learned so much over the past 12 months, and I am continuing to learn things every day. However, back to the topic at hand. If you have any symptoms that are concerning, any of those things listed there, you have to be cleared by the hotline to return to campus for classroom, lab, or clinical activities. Even if you have a test from an outside provider, you still have to go through the UMMC hotline. So what I would probably recommend is logging in, putting your symptoms on the hotline, waiting for them to communicate back to you. They will let you know if you need a test. If you need a test, you can come here and get said test. Also, as an aside, it is not required for you to have a COVID-19 vaccine. However, as a student at the University of Mississippi Medical Center, you are eligible to receive a vaccine. We do those here on campus. There is a link on the home page that you can use to register for your vaccine. So if you have not had a vaccine and you are interested in receiving one, you can get one here on campus at no cost. And it'll be easy. You'll come, on campus, student health, they'll take care of you. You'll be in and out. So, what about these symptoms and our absences? If you are having any symptoms or if you are going to be absent, please make sure that you notify your course coordinator in advance. If you wake up and you feel sick, send an email. Some of the course coordinators will have text messages, have their cell phone numbers listed, so you can send them a text message. You just let them know that this is what's going on, and we'll be sure to note your absence and get you whatever you need or whatever materials that you have missed in that absence. As far as wearing a mask, I know that the governor said you don't have to wear a mask. The CDC says you don't have to wear a mask. Here at UMC, you are on a campus with a hospital, so that is one of those exceptions. You do have to wear a mask. The mask must cover your nose and your mouth. The mask can only be removed for eating or drinking when social distancing is possible. So what does that mean? I know you've looked at that first week that we sent you guys of the calendar and noticed that you're here all day on a couple of those days. That doesn't mean that you have to sit in a classroom for 8 hours with nothing to eat or drink. There will be assigned break times where you can go outside, get a little fresh air, and at lunchtime, we reserved different classrooms throughout the school. So if you bring your lunch, you can go to one of those reserved classrooms, take off your mask, have your lunch, but you still must be distanced from the people in the room. I hear a mic. Is there a question? Victoria Stevens.
Oh gosh. Hey,
Hey, how you doing, girl?
good. How are you?
I am well. Do you have a question for me?
I don't think so.
Okay, your mic was just on. You might want to mute.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Again, technology, we are all still learning. As I said, vaccination is not mandatory. All UMC students and employees are eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. If you would like more information like that, about that, you can visit the homepage. All right, so some School of Nursing specific things. I wanted to start off with the core values of the School of Nursing. The core values are what we hold dear to our hearts here. These are the attributes that we expect to exemplify, to display, and for you guys to exhibit as well. There's a nice little acronym. The acronym is READY. Once you are here on campus, you'll get a card. We are so invested in the core values that we have this little card that we wear on our badge to remind us of what those core values are. And we'll talk about the first one. It is respect. So once you get here, you'll get this little card so that the core values will always be close to you, but we'll just talk a little bit about them now. The first one is respect. That means consideration and thoughtfulness with regard for others. I am to respect you as students, and you are to respect me and others as your faculty members here. Not only are you to respect your faculty members, your peers, your patients that you'll be coming into contact with, and yourself. It is important. Respect is important for us. The next core value is excellence. Y'all already know that you're excellent. You've heard the things. You've submitted your ACT scores. You've submitted your GPA. You know that you are the best of the best. We already know that you are excellent. We expect you to continue to display the same excellence that got you into this program as you progress through this program. Next is accountability. Accountability means that you are responsible for your learning. Yes, I am one of the faculty members here. There are many of us. We are facilitators of your learning. That is what we do. We aid you in getting the information that you need to become successful in this program. However, you are also accountable and primarily responsible for acquisition of that knowledge. That means that I will help you in any way that I can. But it is your responsibility to be accountable and to come to us if you have any questions, anything that you feel like you might need help with. The next core value is diversity. And I know that when many of us think of diversity, we have a certain picture in our mind. I would like for you to dispel that picture right now, because diversity is not one thing. Diversity, by definition, is many things. Here at the School of Nursing, we value diversity of persons, thoughts, all types of diversity. And we would like for you to embrace that diversity. And it is one of our key values here. And then integrity. I have to look at the back of my little card for what it says integrity is. Integrity is steadfastly adhering to the principles of professional standards. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't know what integrity is, but what integrity means to me can be summed up in something that I heard. It's what you do when nobody else is looking. And an example of that is you come to a four-way stop in the middle of the desert and there's nobody there but you. It's the middle of the night and there are no other people around. Do you stop or do you continue through that four-way stop? That is what determines what integrity is. All right, on to the administrative structure here. We'll start at the top and go down, but if you need to contact anyone, you start at the bottom and come up. And I'll explain that a little bit as we move along. Our dean is Dr. Julie Sanford. She is the head of the School of Nursing. The associate dean for academic affairs is Dr. LaDonna Northington. She is over both the all of the nursing programs here. She is over all of them. The assistant dean of undergraduate programs you met, that is Dr. Sharon McElwain or Dr. Mack. I am the traditional BSN program director. And then you have your individual course coordinators. Now for the summer semester, we keep it pretty simple because you only have 2 courses. For your N302 health assessment course, the course coordinators are Miss Monica White and Miss Debbie Fothery. For your pathophysiology course, N307, your course coordinators are Miss Amanda McCullough and Miss Tara Price. If you should have any issues with anything happening in your class, you would contact first your specific course coordinator. So say, for instance, you are not doing well on your first test in N302 health assessment. You would send an email to Miss Monica White and she would help you with that issue. Any issue that you have that cannot be resolved at the course coordinator level, you can escalate to me. You would send me an email, Dr. Lee, I'm having this issue. I spoke with Ms. White. I can't seem to get any assistance. And then we would go from there. If I cannot help you or if you do not get a satisfactory response from me, you would escalate the issue to Dr. McElwain and so forth and so on up the chain of command. I would really like to emphasize that most of our issues can be addressed at the course coordinator level. As I said, we are all here to help you. We all want to see you be successful. No matter what you've heard, we want you to finish this program. There is no weeding out. We are here for you and to support you. So I am almost certain, actually, I am very certain that most of your issues can be resolved at the course coordinator level. Here are a few friendly reminders. The School of Nursing does have a website. On that website, there are very important things. You can find your student handbook, just about any question that you can think of. What uniform should I wear? Student handbook. How short should my shorts be? Student handbook. What is the social media policy? Student handbook. All of that information is in the student handbook that is listed on the School of Nursing website. Easy to find. Now that we've touched a little bit on social media, I want to encourage you. I know that you all are Gen X, Y, Z, some of that, Gen Z, that's who you are. Y'all don't believe in privacy settings, and I understand that. Y'all also believe in posting all your business on TikTok, Snapchat, so forth and so on. I would encourage you, now that you are in a professional school, to be very cautious about the things that you post on your social media sites. If you are going to post all of your wild behavior, you should probably make that page private. And even if the page is private, there are ways for individuals. We have excellent tech IT support here at the School of Nursing. We can actually go into your page, even if it's private, and see what it is that you're doing. And if any of your behaviors are not reflecting the core values of the School of Nursing, that can be a cause for disciplinary action. Bringing us to professional behavior. Make sure when you are not on campus, you are still representing the School of Nursing. Anytime someone sees you in that crispy blue uniform with that nice red and white patch on it that y'all just got, they know that you belong to us. And just like your parents, when people see you out in the street, they don't want to go back and tell your parents that you were acting wild and unruly. Y'all know that feeling. So the same goes for the your behavior here at the School of Nursing. We don't want to hear that our students were seen doing something that could be considered unprofessional. You are always a representation of us, and we want you to be the best representation that we can offer. A couple of other things: attendance, withdrawal, and LOAs can all be found in your student handbook. I will say this about attendance. Once you get into your individual course orientations today, you will discover that this is a very rigorous program. If you miss one day, you've missed a whole lot of information. It is important that you are present so that you can understand the information, because especially during the summer, we only have a few weeks and they are going to fly by. If you miss 1 week, then you're absolutely severely behind. So make sure that you are present on days that you have class, that you are doing the assignments and those things. If for some reason you would need to withdraw from the program, you can look that up in the student handbook. Start with your course coordinator, say, I want to withdraw from this course, and they will help you in navigating that process. We're not going to talk about withdrawal because I know that everybody that starts today will finish in May of 2023. That is my hope for all of you. Any questions so far? And if you have questions, I'm going to need you to use your mics because I can't see the chat box. Or if someone could read any questions that are in the chat box at this point, I'll try to answer them.
There aren't any questions right now.
Okay. All right, so I'll move on to the next thing. The calendar. These are the specifics. The calendar. The calendar will be your guide for the months that you are in school. So you have the first week of the calendar that's going to get you through the first week of June. Once you get here on June 1st, you'll be given the remaining weeks of the calendar so you can plan accordingly. But you must plan according to the calendar. A lot of people like to attempt to fit nursing school into their lives. That's not how this works. Nursing school will become life, and then life will fit in around nursing school. And I know that sounds harsh and extreme, but remember, this is for a short period of time, and it is to achieve one of the most rewarding things that you will probably achieve. So just remember, your calendar is your guide. If you are a planner person, take your calendar, put it in your planner, highlight it, write on it, whatever you need to do, because that's what's going to let you know when you need to be here, where you need to be, when the test is, all of those types of things. So be very aware of what's on your calendar. The next thing I would like to talk about is email. Please ensure that you are checking your email at least once a day. probably multiple times a day, because as I said, things move pretty quickly here. And so if you miss an email early in the morning, you may miss something that's happening later in the afternoon. So make sure that you are consistent in checking your emails. Next is Canvas. Canvas is our learning management system that we use here. It is where all the information for your 2 courses will be stored. Your course coordinators will go over your over their Canvas courses in depth with you once they get to their orientation part. But just know anything that you need is going to be on Canvas. Calendar on Canvas, syllabus on Canvas. Any assignments that you have on Canvas. The only thing that will not be on Canvas are your tests, and Ms. Hargett is going to talk to you about those options here in just a little bit. The syllabus. The syllabus is your guide. It is a contract between the student and the instructor. It says, these are what our expectations of you are. Our expectations are listed in the syllabus. Your graded experiences are going to be listed in the syllabus. If you have any questions about anything, refer to your syllabus. Again, the course coordinators will go over the syllabus with you when they do their orientation. A little bit about our grading policy, because it's probably different from where the grading policy where you were previously. Here we're on the 8-point scale. So that means a 92 to a 100 is an A 84 to a 91 is a B, and 83 and below is a C, and then we don't talk about what's 8 points below that, because that would constitute being unsuccessful in whatever assignment course that is being graded. Thinking a little bit about the grading policy. Oh, rounding of grades. There will come a point in the semester where you will be curious about whether or not we round grades. And the answer to that is that we round the final score. So in most of our courses, you are required to have a 76 test average in order to be successful in that course. That means that all the tests that you take have to meet an average of 76. Now, there'll come a point in the semester where you are curious about, will my grade round? If you have a 75.49, you still have a 75. If you have a 75.51, you have a 76. We want round once at the end in order to get to the final grade. So just remember, anything that's 0.49 or below rounds down, and anything that's 0.5 or higher rounds up to the next number. So I know that you'll be curious when you're trying to figure out if you're going to have an A or a B. If you have a 91.49, what do you have? A B. If you have a 91.5, then you have an A, because that's what I'm expecting, A's and B's. Testing is covered by, the test dates are on your calendar. The format of the test will be discussed by your course coordinators. The testing format that we use, all of our tests are online using a product called ExamSoft or Exemplify. Dr. Jennifer Hargett is going to give you a great orientation about that later today, I do believe. Or if not, she's already done the recording. Questions so far? Moving right along. Here are my own personal tips on how to survive nursing school 101. So first, I want you to just think about some things. Why did you choose nursing? What made you choose nursing as a career? Why did you choose UMC's nursing school? What negatives have you heard about nursing or nursing school? And if somebody could put some of those negatives that they've heard about nursing or nursing school in the chat, we can have a little bit of dialogue about those or just get some ideas of what you guys are thinking. What positives have you heard about nursing or nursing school? And then this is a personal question for me. If you want to answer the question, you can shoot me an email. Is there anything that I need to know about you that may prevent you from being successful in this program? Anything. That means I can't hear well, so I need to sit at the front of the class. I'm visually impaired, so I have to have things in large print. I'm recently divorced and I'm a single parent. I live at home and I have 7 siblings that I have to help care for. Anything like that. Anything that you feel like that might impact your success in this program, you can email me and we can talk through those things. So some of the tips and tricks. The first one is to be prepared. Get that calendar, highlight it, write on it, put it in a planner, put it on your phone, set reminders for yourself. All of that. Be prepared. Do the assigned reading before class. If someone says we're going to be covering pages 10 through 12, then read pages 10 through 12. You will usually find yourself on go mode. There is the time that I'm in class, there's the short break between class, and then there's the time that I'm reviewing what I did in class today or preparing for what's coming for tomorrow. The next tip is to stay ahead. I know that you are all a bunch of excellent students. We take a bunch of type A alphas, overachievers. I know what you are because I was what you are. I am what you are. So when we have to ask for help, we often wait until help is not a benefit to us. And so I would encourage you, if you don't do well on the first test, don't wait until the 4th test to say, I think I need some help. Because by the time we get to the 4th test, you only have 2 tests left, and it's way harder for me to help you dig yourself out of that hole than to provide you with some interventions after that first test. So don't be hesitant to ask for help. Again, do the assigned reading. Do not cram for a test. Please do not say, Dr. Lee, I stayed up till 4 in the morning and then I got dressed and I came to the school and I've been here since 6:30. I haven't had any sleep and I'm ready for the test. No, you're not. You are not ready for the test. You may think you're ready for the test, but your brain is roasted at this point. So the main thing this summer that you'll be doing is learning how we ask questions here at the School of Nursing, what information we're trying to get. How do I study for these tests? You cannot memorize information for tests in nursing school. You have to be able to understand and apply the things that you are reading. So if you read your notes 30 times and still aren't doing well on the test, it's because we're trying to memorize. I can tell, I have had students that are able to tell me every single word on my slides that were from the notes and still not be able to answer the question on the test because I'm not asking you what's in the notes. I'm asking you what you know about what's in the notes. And so we'll work with you to help you figure out the best ways to study and so forth. Again, ask for help early. I think that might be my last slide. and then I'll entertain questions. While y'all are thinking of your questions and typing your questions, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey in nursing, like how I got to be a nurse. On the 21st, which is Friday, I will have been an employee here at the University of Mississippi Medical Center for 20 years. I started here in 2001 when I was a brand new nurse. I decided to become a nurse because at about the age of 13, a friend was pregnant, and she was visibly pregnant, and you could see that there was a person moving around inside her stomach. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. I do not know how that works, but I need to figure that out. So that was 13-year-old me. I thought that I wanted to be an obstetrician. Fast forward to senior year, and I decide I do not want to go to school for 8 years. I do not want to be a resident. I do not want student loan debt. So it's the 90s. There's a nursing shortage. Let's do nursing. So that is how I decided that I would become a nurse. I went to Alcorn State University for 2 years, did my prerequisites there, and then I went to the University of Southern Mississippi, and that is where I have obtained my nursing degree. Came here my last semester of nursing school, and did one of my required rotations here and walked over to labor and delivery and said, hey, you know what? I want a job. And they gave me a job. That was 20 years ago. When I was in nursing school, I felt like all my nursing instructors were a lot different from me. They were all older. And I thought, what child at the age of 20 wants to come and be taught by a bunch of 70-year-old people? Nothing against my colleagues who are older. It's just, I know that you guys can relate better to individuals who are around your same peer group. So I said, hey, I'm going to go teach nursing school. And that is what I did. I've been here at the School of Nursing for 13 years. I occasionally still go work in labor and delivery when my schedule permits, and both of these are my favorite things to do. People often ask, which one do you like better? And I like different things about both of them. So there is no one that I like better. It's like having twins. I had them both at the same time. They're both my babies. I love them both. So there's that. And now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if I can get back to the chat box. Here we are. So I'm going to scroll up and see what questions y'all have for me. The first question I see is about vaccine doses. If we are getting our second dose of the vaccine from an outside source, is there a way that we can excuse an absence to get the vaccine, or should we just schedule around the school schedule? I would probably try to schedule around our schedule. If you've already made the appointment and can't change it, then go ahead and say, hey, I'm gonna be absent. I have to go get my vaccine today. But other than that, just try, if you haven't made the appointment, try to work it around your schedule, your school schedule. Some of the negatives: nursing schools, some schools try to give a lot of busy work. Myth: if it is busy work for you, it is busy work for me. There are 125 of you. I don't have time to make 125 of you busy, because if 125 of you are busy, then one me is exceptionally busy, and ain't nobody got time for that. Every assignment we give to you, there is value in that assignment. There is something in there that we want you to get from that assignment. And if you are unsure at the end, like what was the purpose of this assignment, ask us. We will tell you. There are no secrets here. I am quick to say what I want you to learn from this assignment is, and that there is no busy work. There is a purpose for all of it. This is very difficult or challenging. I cannot debunk that myth. This is probably going to be one of the most challenging things that you can do. How do you combat something that is challenging? You prepare, you stay ahead, you do the assignments ahead of time if you can. It's all about preparation and staying ahead of the curve. Falling behind makes this far more challenging. And it also involves asking us for help. We never get tired of students asking us for help. You know, in every class, there's always that one student that does this. The whole class, they have a question. Be that person. That's okay. Because if you don't know and you don't ask, then you still don't know. So be prepared, stay ahead, ask questions, ask for help early. That is how we combat this challenging task. Nursing helps develop you as a person. I like that. It does help. Isn't it that Mother Teresa saying that to find yourself in caring for others or something like that? Some of those philosophical quotes. Over the course of the next 2 years, you will definitely develop as a person. One, because you're in nursing school. Two, because you're a college age student. And no matter where you were at this age, you would be growing as a person. It's just that you happen to have committed yourself to helping others. And so you will grow more in that direction. Ooh, UMC tries to help all students succeed. I hope that over the past 30 minutes, I have said that a bunch of times, and I really hope that you guys believe that. Nursing school is hard. Yes, it is. But we've already talked about how we can make it not so hard. Busy work and in overwhelming amounts, and overwhelming because of the amount. We discussed that. The semester calendar. So you got the first day of the first week of the calendar emailed to you. You'll have the next week of the calendar either posted in your Canvas course or given to you as hard copies on your first day of school on June 1st. How many pairs of Navy scrubs do you recommend us having? That is a very personal question and depends on how often you want to do laundry. So you only have to wear scrubs on days when you have lab, clinical, those types of activities. Usually no more than twice per week. During the summer, most of you will only have lab once per week. Some weeks you might have lab twice per week. You're wearing the scrubs to lab. You'll be in lab for about 2 hours. Do you feel like you could probably wear those again the next day? Spray a little Febreze on them, throw them in the dryer. Or you could wash them and wear them again the next day, whatever you prefer. Usually students have about 2 sets of scrubs that they buy. For the summer, you may not need 2 sets. You can start with one and see how it develops. Navy scrubs during clinical, but we do not have clinical our first semester. So you'll be wearing your Navy scrubs to lab. You have lab activities usually on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what group you're in and what your schedule looks like. And that schedule will be coming out to you very soon. But either on Wednesday or Thursday, you'll be wearing your Navy scrubs. There are a couple of weeks where you might have to wear them on both Wednesday and Thursday. But again, you're wearing them for short periods of time. So you can either wash them, you can Febreze them, just as long as you feel like they're clean, we're good. I still have holes on my account, so I can't register for classes. I've had my stuff submitted for a while. What do I do? It depends on what holes you have on your account. If you go, I am still in the process of getting access to Workday, so I can't see what holes you have on your account, but you can see what holes you have on your account. And if you have an account hold because of something in the registrar's office, then you're going to contact the registrar's office and say, I have submitted this transcript. How long do you anticipate before this hold is removed from my account? So whatever department, I know there have been some holds from student health, because of some vaccination things, you can contact student health and say, what I've done all the things. Is there anything else that I need to do? What can I do to get this hole removed from my account? And I know I've received emails from a bunch of you guys concerned about not being able to register. This is a little bit different. These courses are a little bit different from the prerequisites before. So say for instance, you wanted to register for English 1 at 9 a.m. Well, there are only 45 slots for English 1 at 9 a.m. So you have to hurry up and register so you'll have a slot in that class. That's not how it works here. There are 125 of you. You all have the same schedule. You all take the same classes at the same time. We have 125 slots for you. Guess what? If there were 140 of you, there would still be 140 slots for you. There is a place for you. So the anxiety around having to hurry and register, you don't need to have that anxiety. There's a spot for you. You're safe. You don't have to be overly aggressive in registering for the courses. Back to the chat box in regard to vaccines and the required paperwork, the instructions stated we should mail it in. Is there any way we can scan it, upload it? That is a question for the department that is requiring that paperwork. I would suggest contacting them and asking them, is there a way that you can email, scan, upload, so forth and so on. Oh, one of your classmates has helped you. You have to submit the papers online to the Student Health Center. Still have holes, submit everything through Canvas and Student Health Portal. The student health is backlogged. That is absolutely true, because while we are trying to get 125 of you in, we also have about 70 senior students who are registering for their externship through the hospital, and they have to have that same paperwork for vaccinations and stuff. So that's just from the School of Nursing. We have almost 200 people that we are trying to get processed through that department, and that's just from the school. There are a lot of other schools that probably have things going on too that are admitting new students. Do we need to pick up our ID badges before school starts? Well, you can't get into any of the buildings unless you have an ID badge. So if you want to go like the day of class or like the week before class, go ahead, pick up your ID badge. Do we need them to get our patches from the bookstore? I don't think you have to have badge access to get into the bookstore. Scrolling down. Holes on the account. I'm not sure about whether there's an issue with that website. I would probably contact the Office of Financial Aid and see what's going on with them. Either call them or send them an email. I prefer to call people because you never know when they're going to read your email, but you know if they answer the phone, then you're talking to a person. I took the packet that we were told to mail it, the waivers, to the SON and dropped it off so that I didn't have to wait on the mail. Oh, I'm not sure what packet that is, but Pierce has given some information to Joey. I love the way that you guys are communicating with each other right now, because these are going to be the people that experience this event with you over the next 2 years. It's good that you get to know each other and be friendly with each other from the start. And I know there are 125 people in this class, and you may never know the name of everyone in the class, but it's good to have friends. How do I go about buying the health assessment DCE text? I couldn't get it from the bookstore and can't seem to find where to get it. I know that that'll be available to you in the book bundle through the bookstore. It is also available through our book supplier, Evolve. I know that Miss White is going to talk a little bit more about that when she does the health assessment orientation here in just a minute. Oh, Miss Donald says that ID badges will be handed out the first day of class. Patches are to be purchased at the bookstore. Thank you, Miss Donald. Y'all, she saves me all the time. Does the bookstore have hard copies of the books we need? I don't do well with ebooks. There should be hard copies of the textbooks. So the thing with the book bundle, y'all remember my email, the book bundle, here it is. And then the bookstore is like, we don't have it yet. So by next week, I talked to them and they said 2 weeks. So by next week, those should be available to you guys. So you should be able to go get hard copies of the books from the bookstore. Call before you go. Don't want anybody wasting gas, It's expensive these days. Is there a certain brand of scrubs? You can purchase any brand of scrubs that you would like. We used to be very restrictive and say you only could buy this type of scrub. But then we realized that people have diverse body types. And so what fits someone well may not fit someone else well, and so forth and so on. So find the scrubs that fit you best. They do have to be navy, no other colors. They can't have like lime green outlines or any of that, just solid navy, no different colored threads, any of that. I will say that as far as the dress code goes, I know we have some people who are very petite. If you are 4'11", your scrub should not be dragging on the ground. And that is because that's an infection control issue, first of all. And second of all, once you wear those for a while, they start to get all ratty and torn at the bottom and dirty. And that's just not a professional look. So we would like for your scrubs to be hemmed to the appropriate length so that they're not dragging on the ground. But other than that, I don't have any recommendations or specifics for scrubs. Whatever you like is what you like. As long as the drawstring can't be seen, then that's fine. There's a question about Carhartt scrubs with green drawstrings. As long as the thread that is on the outside isn't green, then you're good. You can tuck your drawstring in, right? How long should our lab coat be, and what white shoes do you recommend? There are only two. There's the short white lab coat and the long white lab coat. They have a lot of them in the bookstore. They can give you an example. So any scrub supply store should be able to give you an example. And even if you go online to Figs, I guess, I don't know if Figs has lab coats or not, but most online retailers do have long white lab coats. So there's either the short one or the long one. Sydney says she was able to find hard copies of the books on Amazon. Lab coat, green strings. Somebody's helping y'all out with finding the book bundle. Amazon is also a good retailer for buying books. Shoes. Somebody asked me about shoes. I don't have a recommendation for brands of shoes. I like my own cloud shoes, but I'm not sure if they're all leather. So the shoes that you have to be all white and all leather, no porous material. And let me tell you why. There's nothing like emptying the foley and hitting a misstep and a drop of whatever was in that foley is now on your shoe. If your shoe is leather, you can just wipe it off. If your shoe is porous material, then your sock is wet. I'm not going to tell you what your sock is wet with. I think you can use your imagination. Let's see. Someone found white shoes at TC's. A lot of people do the all white Air Force Ones, which I love, but I also know from my 17-year-old son that they are very expensive. So I don't know if you want to buy a $125 pair of shoes to wear to the hospital and get blood all over. Remember, you will have these shoes for an extended period of time. And while right now you're not being exposed to antibody fluids over the next 1, 2, 3, 4 semesters after this one, You will be in the hospital taking care of patients and stuff happens. How does the UMC student parking work? Will we be parking at the stadium or need parking passes? So the way that student parking works is everybody parks at the stadium. There's a shuttle that comes around, picks you up, and brings you across the street. If you're running late, you may not be able to wait for the shuttle to come pick you up and bring you across the street, so you're gonna have to walk across the street. Get here early. Parking fills up quickly, and the overflow parking is way, 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 way a long way away. So try to get here as early as you can to secure a good parking spot and not have to park in the overflow parking. Ooh, someone said they got Hokas. Long days on my feet kill me. If you are willing to spend the money, Hoka is the best. Some people like Hokas. I've never had any. I would recommend support hose. That is something that I wish 20 years ago someone had told me, because they make your legs feel good. After you've been running around for 12 hours, support hose are going to make your legs feel good. I know lots of people also get those Danskos. I wore Danskos for years, and then I put on some support hose and some On Cloud tennis shoes, and it changed my life. So I would recommend wearing sneakers of some type, and then support hose for when you actually get to clinical. Now, for right now, you don't need support hose because we're going to lab, and it's not going to be standing on your feet for a bunch of hours. But in clinical, that might change. First day of school is when you get your student IDs. They'll pass them out to you. We talked about the lab coats. The long white lab coats, you might want to hold off on buying those as well, because we use the long white lab coats when we are going into the hospital for clinical. So you might not need them for the summer. You can kind of hold off on those. How do we access the student health portal? That is a very good question that I am not sure I have the answer to. Miss Donald might be able to help us with that one. What building will our classes be in on June 1st? All of your classes will be in the School of Nursing. Y'all know where the School of Nursing is? Anybody rode around, looked at it on campus, any of that? It's across the street from Parking Garage A. Not Parking Garage B, Parking Garage A. Badges, I think we covered that one. You get them on the first day of class. Oh, the student health portal. Y'all are so efficient over here. It says just Google the student health portal and it'll pop up for you. Did not know that. We talked about parking and where to upload your waivers and data sheets and student health packets. When badges will be given out. Your white shoes do have to be a non-porous material, so either leather or rubber. You should definitely probably bring your computers to class every day. Lots of people use their computers to take notes. So if you have an instructor who gives you like a PowerPoint presentation, you can save it and take notes on it while you're in class. Oh, for the petite ladies in the group, or guys, I'm not discriminating. Sydney says she recommends Fig scrubs because they fit perfectly. Fig scrubs are also significantly expensive, but you'll be wearing them for 2 years. So if you wear them for 2 years, then you get your money's worth, right? There's some discussion about waiver and data sheets. Good places For the more curvaceous ladies, Wink and Cherokee are good brands, not too tight around the thighs. Good information. Other recommendations. Somebody emailed me and said, do our patches have to be sewn on? And I apologize right now because I did not respond to that email because I was trying to think of that product. There's a product that you can use to iron it on, but I couldn't think of the name of it. And then I was trying to think of the name of it, and I got like 600 other emails. So I apologize for not responding to you, but your patches can be sewn on, or you can use that little heat sealant stuff to get them adhered to your. Now with the heat sealant, they may start to peel up and you have to do it again, but that is always an option. Ms. Donald has posted the link to the student health portal in the chat box. If anyone, oh, that's my time too. So there's a commerce activity going on over here. Somebody's selling their 6.5 white nursing school shoes. If anybody is interested. Do y'all have any other questions for me? I'm taking up too much of your time. Somebody else is supposed to speak at 10. So, all right. Dress code for classroom. Oh, thank you so much because this is one of my favorites. All right. So we are in professional school, and I know y'all used to wearing those Nike running shorts and tank tops and stuff like that to school at Ole Miss or Mississippi State or Hines or wherever it is that you went. We don't do that here. You wear, if you are having any questions about the dress code, where can you look? The student handbook. It gives you specifics, but basically the rundown is nothing that is offensive. Don't wear your Budweiser t-shirt or any of that. Ladies, we don't wear leggings. Leggings are not pants here. We wear real pants. And also if your shirt is longer than your pants, then you probably need some different pants. One of my favorite things to say is raise your hands and touch your toes. If anything shows, change your clothes. We don't need to see any of that. So if you raise your arms up and any of this is out, we need a different shirt. If you bend over and touch your toes and any of that is out, then we need some different bottoms. Leggings under dresses are fine. You can wear jeans. You do not have to come business casual. You don't have to wear your khakis and your button down. No, that's not what we do here. We just want you to be covered up and not offensive. For specifics, again, check your student handbook.
All right, everyone. I think we've asked plenty of questions of Dr. Lee this morning. Just a reminder, you're going to be meeting with your faculty advisors and your house leaders later as well. So a lot of these questions you can ask of them also, and they can help you with that. So if you still have any, gray area questions about any of that, they can help you out. Next up is going to be Miss Rhonda Donald. She is the education administrator for your program. She's the most knowledgeable person about all your compliance documents and what needs to be turned in and where. So we're going to have her come up and just introduce herself so that you have a face to the name. And if you have any other questions for her, she's just going to speak briefly, but you can always email her. She's already been answering some questions in the chat box for you this morning. So Rhonda, thank you so much.
Sure. So I've spoken with a lot of y'all already. And I just wanted to touch base on your compliance that you have to submit to me, to the Sun, through Canvas. Number one, your malpractice insurance. That's your liability insurance for when you start clinical. This is very easily purchased online. It runs about $35. They will email you a certificate of coverage that's going to have your term dates on it. Your expiration date is the grade that I put in there. So when that expires, you have to renew it. Well, before it expires. Your CPR, some of you have signed up for the class that we're offering. I know Dr. Eloise Lopez emailed y'all some information either this morning or yesterday, and they will email you a card that will have your, dates on there. And the date that it expires is the date that I will put in Canvas. You upload that to the CPR portal. The TB test is always confusing. You have to have the two-step. And a two-step means you are injected. Several days later, you go back and that's red. Several days later, you go back and get injected again. Several days later, you go back and have that red. And you have to upload both steps to me. If you get your TB test somewhere else other than student health, you have to send it to them also, or they will put you on hold. Let me think. The Hep B, there's been some confusion about that. I do not deal with that as far as compliance, but I wanted to touch on it. You have to have had the 2 or 3 series hepatitis vaccines, which all of you should have already had, or you couldn't have been in school. But you have to have the titer drawn. Wherever you decide to have that done, it's filed on your insurance. So it depends on how much your insurance is willing to pay for that. You can get it done at Student Health. And you just have to upload to them the results of your titer. Your transcript holds, I know a lot of you have those and are concerned. I have a feeling it's all going to work out. And like Dr. Lee said, you've all got a spot. I've told a lot of you that. You've all got a spot in class. There's no worries there. But if you want to contact your previous institution, just make sure it was sent. Just have a little bit of patience with the holds being removed. Let me see. I think that's all. Yeah. I think that's all that I can think of, but I'm sure, anytime you have questions, you can email me or call me. And if I don't know the answer, I'll try to get the answer. So if y'all want to continue to ask questions, I can try to. Okay, is the two-step required even if you have a negative quantiferon? Like if you have been exposed or had a positive TB in the past, you'll have to have that blood test or the x-ray. You just submit those results in place of your two-step. And yes, for the two-step TB, you get injected. A few days later, that's red. You get injected again. A few days later, that's red. So you do get injected twice. And as far, just to clarify with your badges, I'll have a table set up, for when y'all come to class the first day, and I'll get your badges to you. If you didn't get the flu shot, don't worry about it. You will be required to get it. I think it's in October they start giving them, or September, but the hospital requires we all get them. So you're good there. Yes, the quantiferon negative can be uploaded in place of the two-step. The titer, yeah, now, you don't upload that to me. You upload that to Student Health. I would say just if you're getting your final shot on the 31st, just upload those results as soon as you get them. As far as all these student health holds, they are really backlogged, but that's all going to work out. Watch your emails because you'll get information from them. You'll get information from me. Check it several times a day. That's it. So y'all know my number. You know where I live. So just contact me if you have any questions, and I'll watch the chat box. That's it.
Thank you so much, Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
She made a great point there. Your UMMC email address is going to be the sole avenue that we email you going forward. So I know I've been going back and forth with some of you this morning about the meetings that are scheduled later today. And I tried to do as best as I could to email your personal inboxes as well as your UMMC inboxes up until this point. But now that you guys are officially students, everything's going to be sent to that UMMC inbox. So please keep an eye on that. If you have any issues getting into that, please try and get those rectified with DIS or the help desk, and keep an eye on your UMMC inbox. So next on the agenda is we're moving into course orientations now. So these are your we're going to do a health assessment orientation and then your patho orientation. So Miss Monica White and Miss Debbie Fothery are going to be speaking with you guys about health assessment. So I will turn it over to them.
Thank you so much, Josh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Miss Monica White, and I, along with Miss Debbie Feathery, will be going over and this is me, I don't know if you can see me because it's a lot of pictures on the screen. It almost looks like the Brady Bunch. I don't know if you know anything about that, but I'm like, okay, where's the person that's speaking? But anyways, we are going to talk about health assessment. I have a PowerPoint presentation for you, but before I get into that, I want to let you know that this is a very important class. And the reason that health assessment is so important because a good health assessment or a good assessment on your patient can determine the type of care that this patient gets. So if you assess something and it's not really what that is, then that patient will get the care that they don't need, or they won't get the care that they should get. Okay, so this is important. It's a class that meets a couple of days, well, one day a week, but I'll get into that in a minute. But it's going to go pretty fast. And I'll say this many times, you have to keep up with the course and you have to read the book. So I will go ahead and share my screen so that we can go over some specific information about the class. Hold on, let me not do that. Okay, bear with me. Okay, now listen, guys, I need for you to tell me one thing. What screen do you see? Because I don't know what I'm sharing right now, or if I'm sharing anything.
Nothing right now.
Okay, let me stop it. All right, here we go. Okay, this is screen. Okay, so, and I think this will work.
That's it.
Can you, okay, so
Yeah,
can you
that's
see
it.
the screen with just the PowerPoint?
Well, no,
Okay, hold on.
we're seeing your WebEx.
Okay,
There you go.
okay, wonderful. So this is a health assessment orientation for summer 2021. And guys, we are so excited to have you all in the classroom this semester because last summer, because of COVID, we were not able to have any students on campus except at the last week of the course. So we're really excited to have you all here with us. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how this course is set up. And when we talk about the course content delivery, we will have recorded lectures, we will have in-class lectures, and then we will have in-class case studies and activities. Now, The first week of class, you won't have but about one recorded lecture. All of the other lectures will be in class. After the first week, you will have recorded lectures and we will have in-class case studies and activities. Both of these things are very important. And the reason they're so important is because in order to be able to participate in the in-class activities and really get something out of it, you need to look at the recorded lectures before you come to class. The way that I have the recorded lectures set up, though, is that you'll be able to look at those the day before class. So I think it'll fit pretty good in your schedule, but like I said, you really need to look at those lectures before you come to class. Another thing that you need to do to stay prepared for the course is I need for you to read the chapters in the book, okay? Now, in each week, we'll have the lesson plans for the week. So all of that information is spelled out for you, but whatever we're talking about in class that week, you need to read those chapters that correspond with the lectures, okay? Now, when we go to the lab content delivery, we will have faculty recorded demonstrations on the skills that you will have to perform. We will also have the weekly scheduled labs with assigned faculties. What this means is that you will all be put into groups, and each group will have a lab faculty that will be in charge of them, okay? And so you will meet with that lab faculty once a week, and you will go over the skills that you saw in the recorded demos. We also have something called Shadow Health DCE. Okay. Now, I was in the orientation an hour and a half ago or whatever, and one of the questions was one of the negatives about the School of Nursing is that you get busy work. Well, I'll tell you this: everything that we have you doing in this class is for a reason. So when you do your health assessments, you will do them on a partner that is in your group. Most of you all are pretty healthy people. So you will have a good blood pressure. You will have a good respiration rate. You won't have any weird sounds in your heart. Your lung sounds will sound good. You won't have any joints that are a little stiff. So most of you all are pretty healthy. So we wanted to give you something in contrast to healthy. So when you do your shadow health assignments, you will be introduced and exposed to patients that are not so normal, okay? So they may have some adventitious lung sounds, or you may hear some murmurs in their heart, or they may be stiff, or they may have some wounds, okay? So the reason we have you doing that shadow health assignment every week is so that you will be able to recognize abnormal, or at least so you can be exposed to it. Another thing about the shadow health is that 3 of those assignments will be graded, and I'll go into that a little bit, but I want you to be mindful of the things that you're responsible for in this class. We will also have a student recorded video. Now, last year was the first year that we had students do the head-to-toe assessments by video, and we really liked the outcome of that. So this semester, we're going to do it again, and when you get to the last couple of weeks of school, you will know all the skills that you need to know to do a head-to-toe health assessment on someone. And so you'll record that, and your lab faculty will grade it and give you feedback on it, okay? So this is how the course is set up. We have course content that's in the class and in recorded lectures, and then we have lab content too. And you're going to be responsible for all of this information. Okay. Now, I will say this. I know that we will probably have a ton of questions, and I want you to put them in the chat box. And once we're done with the presentation, I'll look at the chat box and I'll take questions from you all at the end. Okay. All right. So now I want to go over the syllabus with you because I want you to know what the expectations are of this class. And I want to be as explicit as I can. Okay. I just want you to have an understanding of what we're doing and what we expect of you. All right, so this course number is N302. So you may hear us saying that this course is health assessment, and you may hear us saying this course is N302 or 302. This is one of the first courses that you take in nursing school in addition to pathophysiology. Okay, so it's 3 semester hours. You have 2 semester hours of theory or in-class work, and then you have 1 semester hour that's in the lab. I, along with Ms. Fathery, will be the coordinators for this class. I will be in charge of didactic, anything classroom test related, and Ms. Fathery will be in charge of anything lab related, okay? So when we go into the lab faculty, remember, you will be placed into groups, and each group will have a lab faculty. The lab faculty that you may have are Mrs. Debbie Feathery, Dr. Jennifer Hargett, Dr. Marilyn Harrington, Ms. Deidre Morgan, Mrs. Tiffany Griffin, Mrs. Presley Lowry, Mrs. Rachel Gamble, and Drs. Nikki Lee and Dr. Katie Hall. So the reason I put this up here is I want to be clear about one thing. Now, you know our first names, and that's really, really good, but we don't go by those around here. So whatever this title is that you see on here, then that's what you're supposed to call the faculty. And so I just want to just make that clear, because sometimes we get a little confused about that. And then I'll hear students say, hey, Monica, what are we doing in class today? Yeah, so we won't do that, okay? All right, so let's go back to some more of the syllabus. So this is an intro course that focuses on health assessment across the lifespan. You will acquire the requisite knowledge and skills necessary to perform health assessments, and the emphasis is on developing, interviewing, history taking, and basic physical assessment skills. This is a lot to take in, guys, and so from the beginning of the class to the end, when we're done talking about all things health assessment, the goal is for, excuse me, when you're done with this course, you will be able to do an adequate and thorough health assessment while being safe, okay? Because you'll hear us say this all the time in nursing school. One of the main things that we want you to be is a safe nurse. So I want to go over the objectives with you, just so you'll be mindful of what the objectives are in this course. So when you're done with this course, you will be able to develop communication skills, which facilitate establishing a caring relationship. You'll develop skills in obtaining, recording, and organizing data as it relates to health assessment. You will be able to demonstrate the psychomotor skills necessary to perform a physical assessment. You will incorporate concepts to record and organize data obtained during the assessment process. And you will employ basic critical thinking skills in evaluating and reporting the data obtained during the assessment process. Okay, so when we're done with this course, these are the things that you will be able to do. Now, how do we teach you and how will you learn? Well, you are expected to integrate knowledge from all prerequisite courses into N302. And the first slide said that there are no prerequisite courses. Well, that's prerequisite courses that are in this nursing program. But I want you to dig deep and reach back and look into those A&P courses and things like that, because those things will really help you be successful in this class. And we will include tons of learning and teaching activities that will be diverse, and we'll evaluate you accordingly to each one of those. Now, for any of my students who think that they need academic accommodations, I want you to pay attention to this. Faculty are not allowed to make academic accommodations for students without official approval by UMC's Office of Academic Support. To receive accommodations at UMMC, all students must contact the Office of Academic Support and complete the appropriate process. So there's a process that you would have to complete in order to get academic accommodation. So what this means is if they say that you need academic accommodations, you might need another 30 minutes to take your test and things like that. So usually you just get more testing time, and you'll get private testing time as well. So let's talk about how you'll be evaluated in this course and the requirements for this course. So I want you to refer to the student handbook about everything that's in paragraph number 1. Now, let's talk about grading, because this is one thing students are very concerned about, and I want you to be clear of how this works. The grading response time means that all information related to graded assignments for this course will be posted in the learning management system. Our learning management system is Canvas. And so depending on the assignment, the time frame for posting the grade will vary. We will get your grades in a timely fashion. We will do that. And you will have some satisfactory, unsatisfactory assignments. Now, these satisfactory, unsatisfactory assignments do not count towards your final grades. However, you must make a satisfactory on these assignments in order to complete the course, or you will receive an incomplete for this course, okay? If you receive an incomplete for the course, you will not be able to move on to the next semester until you complete the course, okay? Because in order to go into the fall semester, you have to have health assessment, all right? Now, I know Dr. Lee talked a little bit about this for the how you get your grade. So what the grading system means here. So a 100 to a 92, well, 92 to a 100 is excellent. That is an A. A 91 to a 84 is a B. 83 to 76 is a C. So at this point, you're less than, if you get anything under 76, you're not satisfactory, okay? So 75 through 70 is less than satisfactory, and we, hope we don't go any less than that. All right, so how do I get my grade in N302 health assessment? Okay, so we have 6 unit-based tests that are worth 50%. You have one final exam that is comprehensive, and that's worth 12%. The shadow health focus assessments are 12%. Now, when we talk about lab and clinical, you have the final performance of comprehensive physical assessment. That is 18% of your grade. You will also have to document the final written physical assessment, and that is 8% of your grade. And then you have to complete all of the satisfactory, unsatisfactory assignments with a satisfactory. So you need to make an average of a 76 in order to receive a passing score for this class. So if your test average is not a 76, you cannot be successful in this course, okay? And like Dr. Lee said earlier, we do round at the end, but you have to have a test average of a 76, okay? So let's talk a little bit more about this. In addition to our other coursework, to successfully pass this course, the student must have both weighted test average and overall course average of 76 or greater, okay? A weighted test average includes all tests in the course, including any final exam. If the final weighted test average is less than a 76, the student will fail the course. The course grade will be weighted, the weighted test average. So A, D, or F, okay? A D or F. So this does not apply to this course, but standardized testing products are not included in this calculation. You'll see that more in the fall semester, but not necessarily in this course, okay? Now, you are allowed to take makeup tests if you have an excused absence if you need to miss a test, but the format of the test will be at the discretion of the faculty. So it could be multiple choice, short answer, essay, case study, true and false, okay? Now, let's take a look at C. We know that we need to get a 76 or greater on our test in order to pass the class. We also need to have a 76 or greater overall to pass the class. However, another component that's included in that is you have to have a grade of 84% on the comprehensive physical assessment for successful completion. If any student is unsuccessful in either physical assessment or the documentation component of this checkoff, the entire assessment, both checkoff and documentation, must be repeated. The student will be given a mandatory practice session prior to repeating the checkoff, and the higher of the 2 grades will be the final grade for the comprehensive checkoff. So in the event that you are not successful with the head-to-toe assessment or the documentation of the head-to-toe assessment, you'll have another try to get it right, okay? So the assignments will be makeup assignments, makeup tests. That'll be chosen by the faculty. And the late assignment policy, the shadow health assignments do have dates on them that they're due. Those dates are posted on the calendar that you will receive later, and it's also posted in the shadow health learning platform. So you should be able to get those assignments on time. But if you have any late assignments, then there'll be a penalty for that, okay? So I just want to go over the student accountability policy. We don't allow plagiarism. See the handbook about that information. One thing that's really important is that you must check your UMC email and your Canvas system at least daily. You probably should do it several times a day. If you receive an email from your instructor and the response is required, you must respond within 24 hours. You must notify the instructor in advance if you will not have access to a computer. Use the correct adequate grammar and sentence structure at all times. If you have a question that might be applicable to the entire class, it should be posted on Canvas in the discussion site at the discretion of the faculty. And faculty will respond to your emails as soon as we can, but no later than 2 business days. And any special circumstances will be communicated to the student via learning management system or via email. So if we send you something and we need a response, we would like that response within 24 hours. And if you send us something, just give us no more than 2 business days to get a response to you. And it usually doesn't take us that long, but if you send us something on Friday at 5, then you won't get a response until Monday. Okay, so several of you have asked questions about the materials that you need for the class. So this is the list of all of the books that you will need for N302. And I think it was stated that all of this should be in the bookstore by next week, including the Shadow Health Assessment DCE. Okay, I think you got this flyer from Dr. Lee maybe last week. So if you have any questions about it, just refer back to that. And I think next week you should be able to get everything from the bookstore if you haven't gotten it already. Now, when we do the digital clinical experience, like I said, it'll give you some exposure to patients that are abnormal or abnormal body systems, okay? And so this is just a screenshot of what some of the information on Shadow Health will look like. And oftentimes, the assignments may take you a couple of hours to finish, maybe an hour, hour and a half, okay? So just be mindful of that, because the assignments in Shadow Health are due either Thursday at 5 or Friday at 5. And so if you start on this at 4 o'clock, you may not be able to complete that assignment in time. So give yourself some time to do the Shadow Health assignments, because they'll really help you learn the information that we talk about in the recorded lectures and the information that we talk about in the in-class case studies and activities. And you'll be able to come to class with some questions about what you don't understand or what you need further clarification on. Okay, so this is just a picture of the first week of school. Okay, so I did a couple of things to it just so you'll know that when we say you should keep up with the calendar, we're really serious about this. All right, so I'm going to point out all of the things that you should do for N302 health assessment. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have an in-class lecture from 1 to 3 on June 1st. Then that's going to be in class. So then you're going to have a recorded lecture. You're going to have a recorded lecture on mental health assessment, and then you'll have a Shadow Health digital clinical experience orientation. It's really important that you do this around this time so that you can do your Shadow Health assignment, okay? You do that at home or outside of the classroom. All right. The next day, we are back in class from 9 to 11, and we're going to talk about interviewing to obtain health history and documentation. Okay? The next time we will do something will be in lab. So you will either have lab from 8 to 9:30, 9:30 to 11, 12 to 1:30, or 1:30 to 3. All right, so you will get details about your lab groups and when you should go to lab a little bit later, okay? Just know that during that time, you will be in lab at a certain time, and when you are in lab, you are wearing your uniform. Okay, so that's lab. Now, we have this thing called the test Q&A. So I will hold a test question and answer session the Thursday before your test on Fridays, okay? This will be in class and it will be virtual because if you had lab at 8, you might not want to hang out until 11 to do the Q&A, so you can do it on WebEx, the same format that we're using right now, okay? So those are going to be every week. And let me just say this, for the test Q&A, I want you to come with questions and I want you to tell me things that need to be clarified, but I won't be giving you information of what's going to be on the test, okay? I'm not going to give you a list of this. These are the things you need to study. All right, so when we look at the bottom of this, we have the Shadow Health Conversation Concept Lab. It's due at 5 o'clock on June 3rd. So this is why it's so important for you to do your orientation of shadow health on that Tuesday, or even before then if you can, so that you can get your first lab assignment in at 5 o'clock on that Thursday. Okay, so this is an assignment. All right, so now we have a test. So we start class on June 1st. You will have your first test on June 4th on the content that we talk about this week. And it will be from 9 to 9:45. You take the test in the classroom, but we'll let you know what classroom that you will be in, okay? And that is a week of N302, okay? It gets better as the weeks go along, but I just wanted you to be mindful of the things that you need to pay attention to when we're talking about class and what you need to do, what you're responsible for, and assignments that have to be submitted. Okay, so now I will take questions. If you have any. So I'm going to look at the chat box. And right now, we don't have any questions about this course. Okay. What materials will we need for N302? So Emery, are you referring to books or like clothes and things like that? Supplies. Okay. So all right, here they come. All right, yeah. Okay, so let me go here. The supplies that you will need for N302, you'll need your book. You'll need the books that are on that list. You'll need your stethoscope. You'll need a pen light. And you need some other things too. Okay, so I think that list was in some information for you all, but I'm not certain if it was. Are the lab times assigned by last name? No, they're not. Let me stay in order though, because I'll just start going all over the place with these questions. Okay, so for the textbook, do we need the most current edition? I recommend that you do have the most current edition. The information in the books are pretty similar, but oftentimes I will be referring to something specific in the current edition, but you may or may not be able to find it in a lower edition. I like to know about books and other supplies. So you'll need the books that are on that flyer that Dr. Lee sent, and it was also a couple of slides ago. And you'll also need the stethoscope. You'll need a pen light. You'll need your uniform. Your uniform needs to have a patch. You'll need to have the appropriate shoes. We will also have a list of specific things that you'll need to have, but I was almost certain that that information was already in the information that you got already. And okay, where do we buy the Shadow Health DCE if we aren't buying the bundle? What I can do is get you the ISBN number to the Shadow Health, and I think you can buy it directly from Elsevier. Evolve Elsevier, yeah. Where will your classrooms be? So we will have our N302 course, the class where we do the in-class activities, and on the first week when we do the live lectures in room A102. And the labs will be in various places, but we will let you know where those places are. Okay, so don't have any angst about that, we will let you know where you need to be. Oh, a watch with the second hand. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Okay. Areas where I can do online classes and assignments on campus. I will be commuting for over an hour and will not have time to go home between in-person class and online Q&As. Okay, that's a good question. I think the library may be an area where you can do that. But like Dr. Lee said, we'll also have some classrooms reserved. So if we're not in class, like during lunch and things like that, you'll be able to go in those classrooms. Will you need to bring our books every day? Will supplies that we need for each day be on the schedule or told to us prior to the day we need them? Okay, so let me talk about the books. I would bring my book to every, in-class activity and case study that we have because you would need to refer to that. On the first week of school, I do advise you to bring the books to class, but you don't have to, but I encourage you to do that. Will the supplies that we need for each day be on the schedule or told to us? No, we're not going to tell you every day what you're going to need. So for lab, bring all the things and then you won't be unprepared, okay? Bring everything, your stethoscope, your pen light, the watch with the second hand, all of those things, bring them every single class, okay? Can we wear an Apple Watch if we set the screen to a clock with a second hand? Now, somebody's going to have to help me with this because I do not know the answer. My answer is no, but it may be
Monica, it looks just like a regular watch when you
Does
put
it?
your Apple setting. I answered that and said it was fine, but
Okay.
you may not wear your Apple Watch during testing. You see, this student is showing hers.
Oh, this is a thank you for that
Yeah.
demonstration.
It looks just like an analog watch, but y'all
Okay.
know that you cannot wear Apple Watches or any kind of smart watches during testing.
Okay, thank you for that. Will we have a locker to hold all of our books? No, I don't think so. Dr. Lee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we will have lockers. We don't have enough lockers
No,
for everyone.
we do not have lockers.
Okay. Okay, I think we answered the question for watches. Can we use smart watches if they have a second hand? It has to look like a watch though with the second hand on it. Okay, because the reason we do this is because when we're doing our respirations and we're doing our pulses and things like that, you need to know the time. Okay, and you can't do that if the watch is giving you numbers. It doesn't need to spit out numbers. It needs to, tick or move.
I will
And
say this. Let me say one thing about the Apple Watch. When you hold the Apple Watch up, it's going to show your screen for a few seconds. You're going to be looking at this watch for 60 minutes. 60 seconds at least. So if it goes dark, then you have to touch it to make it come back on, right? Is that how that's how mine works.
But you can set it though so that it's not going to sleep while you're using it.
But you're not using it. So it doesn't know if the only way that it knows that you're using it is if you're touching it.
But
And I'm
you
not
can-
sure
you
in
can
your
put it
settings
on
if
so
you
that
can
it's
turn that off.
constantly displayed. There is a way.
Or you could buy a $5 watch with it.
There you go.
I've had students to wear 2 watches. They'll wear their Apple Watch and then they'll wear their little $5 watch. Okay. Mrs. Gamble said that the library is not far from the School of Nursing. We were talking to Mary Kate, and it is a great place to listen to those lectures as long as you have headphones. So Mary Kate, that is definitely a resource for you. And do we only wear scrub on lab days? You wear scrub on the days that you come to lab. However, there will be some activities that you will need to wear your scrubs to, and we'll tell you that, okay, if you need to wear the scrubs outside of a lab day. There's a point in the semester we'll do health screening, so you'll wear them to those. So anytime that we go out and we represent the School of Nursing as a group or as a class, then you'll definitely wear your scrubs, okay? But we just won't have you like guessing that. We'll tell you about that. You want to set your watch face to stay on constantly because you won't always have an extra hand to touch the screen back on. So that's just something to be mindful of. What I will tell you is this, Whatever you decide to do, you're responsible for keeping the time on things that we need to keep the time on, okay? So if you have to count those respirations for 60 seconds and your thing goes off at, 30, I don't know. I guess you could just kind of guess the other 30 seconds, but you're going to be responsible for that. On the class calendar, it says interviewing. What exactly does that mean? Well, Reagan, that means that you will interview a patient, well, it won't be a real patient, but it'll be an accelerated student that's been here since the beginning of the year. And that student will serve as the role of the patient. And so you'll interview that patient on a health history, on symptoms that they're having and why they're coming to the clinic or the healthcare setting that you're designated to that day. So we'll actually be talking to people about why they are coming to the hospital, coming to the clinic or whatever health setting that we have. Okay. Yeah. These are some really good questions. And what I'll do is I'll put my email address in here, and Ms. Feathery can put hers in too. So if you have any questions that are specific to this course, I want you to email us, reach out. This is the thing, guys. If you feel like you are struggling, you don't understand the concept, you're not getting what we're saying, this assessment thing that we're doing, I don't know how to do it. I've looked at the video. I'm not sure. Let us know so that we can help you. We want to help you before you get to the point where you're unhelpable. I don't know if unhelpable is the word, but don't get to the unhelpable part, okay? Because we can kind of get you back on track if you see yourself kind of going astray. You have to let us know. Communicate to us what you need, okay? Because we cannot read minds.
Can I say something to add to
Sure.
that? I was just going to say, in addition, I had made a couple of notes, and one thing is save the dates on the calendar. If you, as I'm doing the lab coordinating, I'm saving time. So if you need more practice on a certain day, I've got some time set aside for students to come back and practice. So if it says Wednesday and Thursday are lab days, but you're only scheduled for Wednesday, please don't get a job that you have to go in on that other day, because that other day is saved for us just in case you guys need that extra help. And then the other thing I would say is come prepared for lab. Don't come as a blank slate. We just simply don't have that much time. So if there is a video to watch of an assessment, if there's a video like you're going to watch on mental health assessment before you interview someone, the person that you're interviewing may have a mental disorder. And so you've got to pick that up. Come prepared for lab. And don't get too overwhelmed by the head to toe assessment. When we were talking about that, I thought we probably need to say, we're going to get you there in little bits and pieces. So we're going to have a whole section on eyes and a whole section on the abdomen, and you'll get to the whole head to toe by the end of the summer, but we're going to bite off the pieces, little bits and little bits. So anyway, that's all I was just going to say. Save all your dates just in case you need them, even if you're not scheduled to be here, and get prepared for lab.
Thank you, Ms. Feathery. Those were some good points. And like she said, we're gonna bite at this a little bit at a time. But this is what we're saying. In order to get to week 2, you need to know week 1. You don't need to memorize week 1, you need to know it. So we get to week 2, you know week 1. So now we know week 1 and 2. So when we get to week 3, we have to use the stuff from weeks 1 and 2 in order to get that done, okay? So this stuff builds on each other, okay? I don't think I have any more questions. Like I said, if you have any questions that are specific to this course, please do not hesitate to send me an email, okay? All right, y'all got that? All right.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much, Mrs. White and Ms. Feathery. We appreciate you guys. We're going to keep moving right along into course orientation for pathophysiology in 307. Mrs. Amanda McCullough and Mrs. Tara Price are going to speak with you guys. After they finish up their presentation, we're going to break for lunch. So we will remain in this meeting. This is the room that we're going to remain in, but you guys are free to go grab some lunch until 1 o'clock after you finish up your patho presentation. So please be back in this WebEx room at 1 p.m. To hear from Dr. McSorley for our clinical simulation lab, and then we'll do an exam soft orientation for you guys as well. So I will turn it over to Mrs. McCullough and Mrs. Price and let them go through their presentation with you, and then we will break for lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the orientation for N307 Pathophysiology for this summer. My name is Mrs. Amanda McCullough, and I'm the course coordinator for this course. We also have another course faculty in this course, and her name is Miss Tara Price, and so we'll introduce ourselves in a minute. I think how do I do that? Hold on. Sorry, we're not real tech savvy people. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. I don't want to.
Okay,
Oh wait.
so
Share.
okay, so now, okay, so when you press start, will it show up on this screen?
Hold on. You think after a year we're like. Okay, we're good. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, we're getting back. So I think what Mrs. White did with her presentation with kind of saving the questions to the end worked really well. And so we'll go ahead and do that as well. So first off, like I said, my name is Mrs. Amanda McCullough, and I'm so excited you guys are here. Just a little bit about myself. I am actually from Connecticut. So if I sound funny to you, that is why. I've lived in Mississippi almost 11 years, but everyone from back home up in Connecticut thinks I have a Southern drawl, and everyone down here says I definitely do not. So I've been a nurse for almost 16 years. I graduated from a college up in Pennsylvania back in 2005. I got my master's degree in 2010 in forensic nursing, and then I actually got my postmaster's FNP certificate from UMC. So it's kind of been cool to be in different colleges in different parts of the country. I started working here at the School of Nursing about 2.5 years ago. So before that, I was a nurse practitioner over at Batson, the Children's Hospital, in pediatric orthopedics, and I still do a little bit of that. I also work in our school-based clinics in the Jackson Public Schools and do a little primary care in pediatrics. So I'm kind of your pediatric gal. But I am loving teaching and am really, really excited to be teaching this course again this summer. So now I'm going to introduce Mrs. Price for her to give you a little introduction to herself.
Good morning and welcome to UMC School of Nursing. I am so excited you guys are here because that means we get to come back to campus. I don't mind sitting at home working in my PJs for a little while, but I'm ready to be back up here and interact and hang out and get to meet you guys and learn you. And I know who I can harass and who I can't harass. So I'm excited that you're coming to join us. So I have been a nurse for, I think I figured it 20 going on 29 years now. I started out as an LPN. They used to call those little play nurses or low paid nurses, hence the LPN. So I did this the long way, and then I came back here to UMC 20 years ago and got my BSN, just like you guys are doing. I did the 2-year day in and day out rigorous program, and then went and got my master's and nurse practitioner in women's health. So OBGYN is my specialty area. So I look forward to having you guys 4th semester for OB. And like Miss McCullough, I practice in our school-based clinics as well at Lanier High School, which is one of our teen wellness centers. So I do reproductive health there. And I also practice in one of our research studies, which is where I just flew in from at the medical mall. So if I'm out of breath, that's why. I literally just pulled in from the medical mall this morning. And so just a quick cool tip about me. I'm sure in your A&P course, you guys learned that your arteries carry oxygenated blood, so they're red, right? And your veins carry deoxygenated blood, so they're blue. So I know that all of you bleed red and blue, but I really bleed red and blue. So cool fact, I am hotty toddy Ole Miss all the way. So if you're not, I will harass you. So just go ahead and get used to it. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so both of us, just so you guys know, are located, our offices are in the office annex, which is actually a building that's right kind of adjacent to the School of Nursing. So if you ever want to come meet with us, we love meeting with students. You would just email us and set up a time, and then we would give you directions on how to get here. So as I was preparing this presentation, I tried to figure out how I wanted to go about this. And I think I wanted to start with kind of the calendar and the course content with this course, okay? So I know a lot of you have questions about the calendar. So for pathophysiology, most weeks, the calendar for our course, N307, or you'll hear us refer to it as patho, is going to be identical, okay? So 2 mornings are going to be dedicated to lectures. Usually that's going to be a Monday and a Tuesday morning, okay? Now, of course, this first week of the semester is a little weird with the holiday. We have some other holidays or maybe some faculty stuff going on, so it might differ a little bit, but you're going to have 2 mornings every week that's dedicated to lectures. Tests are going to be Monday mornings. So of course, unless there's a holiday. So normally how it works is you come in for your test Monday morning. They usually are about at 8:30 or so. You have your test, you have a little break, and then we get right into lecture. Okay. Remember that, you know, we are so excited to be back in class, and the expectation is that you are going to be in class with us, right? So, you know, if you're sick, if you're on the side of the road with a flat tire, the expectation is that you let us know, okay? That's what's appropriate and that's what's professional. You'll also see on here that there is test Q&As, question and answers, just like your health assessment course, okay? Now, these are always going to be on Fridays. These are optional, okay? They're optional unless you score less than an 80 on the prior test. So if you score less than an 80 on the pathophysiology test from that week, you are expected to be in that review session, okay? You can come every week, whether you score 99 every week and you want to just come and hang out and listen, that's completely fine. That's appropriate. That's awesome. That's engaging. And so you're welcome to do that. And we welcome that, but it's a little bit different than health assessment, where if you score less than that 80 on the test prior, you need to come to these question and answers until you score greater than an 80. Similarly to health assessment, this is not going to be reteaching content. We're not going to be going over, this will be on the test, this will not be on the test. We want you to bring your questions with you. When Canvas is up and running, our course, which you'll learn a bit more about, our learning management system. We're going to have discussion boards open, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but you can post your questions ahead of time so that, you know, we have an idea. Maybe there's a concept that's really, really muddy that people just aren't getting, and that way we can really help kind of clear it up during that question and answer session. Those question and answers as well, the majority of them will be in person. Okay. Now, if there was a day where it was wonky with lab schedules, where not everyone was going to be on campus, then we are going to do those virtual as well. Like Dr. Or like Mrs. White had mentioned, but that will be noted on the calendar, okay, with a virtual meeting. So If you don't see a virtual meeting listed, then that means that it's live in person. While we're talking about kind of these recorded lectures, I want to remind everyone that lectures, when you're in class, in lecture, you're not allowed to record lectures with iPads, iPhones, anything like that. Okay. Remember too, so most weeks, again, the first week is a little weird. You'll have your pathophysiology test Monday, class right after it. You'll come back Tuesday. You'll have your class Tuesday for the remaining content of the same content, and you'll get an idea of what I mean in a minute. And then you'll come back Friday for your question and answer, if you'd like, okay? The other days are going to be health assessment, but it's going to go really, really quickly, like Miss White said. So it's really important to kind of get time management on the front end. So this is the first week of the calendar, which I know you guys just saw with Miss White. I don't know how to do cute little boxes and things like that with pop-ups yet. I'm still learning all that. But you can see that we will start off the semester with your N307 lecture. So if you look at Tuesday, June 1st, you start lecture at 9 o'clock. Okay. One thing about class is if we have class that starts at 9 o'clock, the expectation is you are ready to go at 9 o'clock. So that's not walking into the door at 9 o'clock, getting your computer, setting your computer up, all that, and being disruptive. It's you're there early and you're ready to go at 9 o'clock. So you'll see this week, again, it's a little bit off because of the holiday, but you'll have your pathophysiology lecture from 9 to 12. And then you'll come back later on Wednesday for in-person lecture as well to finish up that content. And what I've done throughout the calendar is, when content is over, you can see end content, N307, test 1. So you know that everything you learned from those 2 days prior are going to be on that test the following Monday. What I did want to point out over on Friday is that, okay, you see our, at 10 o'clock, you have a Q&A, which is optional. So obviously we haven't had a test yet. So anyone who wants to come to that can just come, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about any questions or clarification you might need on the topic of cellular injury and adaptation, because that's our first week. At 10:45, we're going to have an optional patho study tips course or lecture or whatever, just interactive meeting. So when I was in this course last year, first off, let me just tell you, I loved this course. I am not a closet nerd. I am like a self-proclaimed nerd. I love learning. I love teaching. I love when things connect for students and for myself. So I really, really love this course and this content. So me and Mrs. Price are really going to try to make it as kind of interactive as we can, and also really try to line it up with health assessment. So if you're learning about the neurologic system and health assessment and how to test the cranial nerves and do all that, then you're going to be learning about the neurologic system in pathophysiology. So it kind of helps connect those things. Okay. So I just want to say we put some effort into that this year to really try to kind of line it up. So again, we're not trying to memorize things. Memorizing does not go well. We want you to know the content, because each semester it's going to build on that content. But my point of that is saying, last semester, or last time I taught this last summer, there was a lot of questions about how to study. What do we need to study? Some of you might not have ever had to study before and you all got A's. I'm here to tell you it's very, very different. You need to study. You need to not cram the day before a test. You need to be reading the books and doing the assignments that we assign. And so this optional question and answer is something that we've kind of developed to help kind of just get you guys started off on the right foot. Okay. So again, that's going to be in A102. That's going to be our main classroom that we're going to be in. But some weeks, these question and answers that you see, it will say virtual meeting if, if there's kind of crazy lab things going on and we know that people might not have time to get home. So let's talk a little bit about the course content. So you've heard about our learning management system, which is Canvas, okay? And you will have access to Canvas prior to the first day of class. So we'll open that up probably sometime next week for at least you to start kind of, looking around in it. You can look at your syllabus, you can look at a few other little things, and kind of get prepared a little bit for the first week of class. So we have, objectives. Objectives are really going to be the guide as to what you guys will be learning about and what you'll need to be studying about. And each module, we break things up into modules. So module 1 will be all of the content and all of the information you need for week 1's test. Okay. You'll have your objectives there ahead of time so you can look at them before lecture. We even recommend kind of perusing your book, looking through your book. Okay, this is what we're going to be, learning about this week. You'll then come to class, right? So pathophysiology, I think, is really taught best in person. We don't have many recorded lectures at all, just because some of this content is a little bit hard to understand, or it's just, it's much easier, I think, to convey in person. So there might be 1 or 2 recorded lectures, but otherwise, everything's really going to be in person. So we'll have lectures in person, as well as, some activities in class as well. Like Miss White said, however you guys like to take notes, is fine. So PowerPoint slides, lecture notes, those are not required for presenters to give to you. It's kind of a courtesy to help you study off. A lot of presenters and lecturers will do that. And so you can print those out ahead of time if you're a paper person, or you can bring your computer and kind of electronically take notes as we're going through lecture. Okay. It's up to you how you learn best. There's also going to be discussion boards pre and post test. Well, what does that mean? So under each module, again, it's going to be very easy to kind of differentiate. Okay, week 1, this is what we're learning about. You'll have a discussion board that, is there for you to ask questions. Okay. You need clarification about something. This is not, hey, what's the definition of, homeostasis? We're not doing that, because if you can go to the book and find it, then you should do that. But this is something that really does not make sense to you. Hey, Mrs. McCullough, you said in lecture that, in times of stress, this hormone is released, but why are the levels low when lab levels are taken? Something like that. Okay. Something that you really kind of can't figure out on your own. So that's going to be there ahead of, basically that's going to be open from the time you get the content. So if something's not clear to you, please post it on the discussion board, because someone is probably having the same exact thought process as you. And also, use that discussion board before a test to ask questions about specific subjects that we can then cover in our Q&A session. Okay. And that will kind of give us some preparation. If we see that there's a lot of concern that like a complete concept was missed, okay, well, let's revisit this and see how we can explain it a little bit differently. Okay. One thing about the discussion board is it's really going to be checked during business hours, right? So I'd like to think I have somewhat of a life. I really don't. I mean, I've got 3 small kids, if that counts. Mrs. Price has a life because she goes to everything Ole Miss, and I'm jealous. Anyway, so, keep in mind your tests are Monday morning, right? First thing Monday morning. So there's a good chance that, we might not be checking that discussion board over the weekend. Okay. So if you have a question, it's a really good idea that you start reviewing this content much earlier in the week, so that, when I check that discussion board at 4:30 on Friday, that's probably the last time I'm going to check it. Okay. So that's some incentive to really kind of stay on top of things and, really kind of start looking at it before Saturday and Sunday. After the test too, in that same module, how it will be set up, there'll be a discussion board that opens for after lecture. Okay, so I think something really important to keep in mind, you do poorly on a test, or you just, something happened on that test, you need to switch gears and you need to be ready and you need to be engaged for lecture so you can improve on it for the following week. Okay, so you should not be posting, and it should not be open, but you shouldn't be posting questions on the discussion board about, clarification on the test while you're in lecture. While you're in lecture, the expectation is you're paying attention to whoever's speaking. But that post-test discussion board will be open for exactly that reason, for clarification. I don't understand why this was the correct answer. Now, this is not a spot, obviously, to argue for points or anything like that, but sometimes, especially as new students and you're learning new types of questions, it can be very beneficial for you to post and have, one of the faculty respond and have you think of it a different way. Okay. And so that's really our goal, for it to be a safe place for you guys to post any clarification you need after a test. And that's the only way that we will answer questions after a test. So if you email Mrs. Price or I, hey, I was confused about this question, we will direct you to the discussion board so that everyone is getting the same clarification, because I know more than one person has that answer or has that question. Okay. So that's just, another way for you to communicate with us. And I highly recommend using that. I think the first few weeks people get really scared. They don't really know anyone. They're not really comfortable posting, but we're really here to help you. And we really want you to be accountable for your learning. And so please, please, please utilize these. They're here to help you. So testing and grading scale. So kind of continuing on with some of our course content. Of course, we're going to have tests in this class, and we'll talk more in depth about that in a minute. Our tests are going to be in person. Woo! So we are so excited about that because we were having to test via Zoom and WebEx and everything for the past year. So tests will be in person. All of you, when you get your lectures, you can all fit in one room. But for testing purposes, you cannot all fit in one room. You guys need some more room. You need to space out a little bit. We don't want you on top of each other and, getting tempted to look elsewhere. So you will be split into 3 testing rooms, and you will be assigned to a room for the duration of the semester. And we'll get that to you before the start of the semester once we have a final list of students. Okay. So you just know on test days, and it'll be the same for pathophysiology and health assessment. So there's no confusion, but you just know when there's a test, you're going to go to a room where you will be assigned, and you'll take the test, and then we'll all come back to A102 for lecture. Okay. Testing is going to be on your computer. She's Dr. as of 2 weeks ago. Dr. Hargett is going to give you a whole orientation to ExamSoft later this afternoon. So don't stress about it. She's going to go through how to get it onto your computer, how to, take the test, all of that good stuff. So don't stress about that. What I do want to tell you is that there are no formal test reviews, meaning after the test, we don't all get together and go question by question and say, yeah, this is why this is the right answer. Okay. Immediately after your test, while you're still in the classroom and you're still on ExamSoft, you will be able to review your test and the wrong answers that you got. Okay. And the rationales. And so that's how you will know, kind of the thought process of the correct answer. And then again, if there's anything that's muddy or unclear about that, that's when you would later go to the discussion board for clarification. We also recommend that you are welcome to schedule a meeting with us one-on-one with me or Mrs. Price to review, a test. If you just really did really poorly on it, you still don't understand what you missed, you were just so upset after the session that you didn't even review it, by all means, please reach out to us. We would love to go over it with you. We can pull up your test and the answers that you chose and discuss the rationales for them. It's highly recommended, especially if you're struggling, but anyone is welcome to do this. But you've got to review your test prior to the next test. Okay. And that's just to kind of keep us on track. So it's not week 8 and we're all trying to, review the last 7 weeks of testing, right? And also for test integrity. So be proactive. If you know you've got a busy week ahead, you really weren't happy with that test score, please email us and let us know, and we can schedule, a one-on-one review. I also want to let you know that after each test, me and Mrs. Price will review the test and look at statistics on questions. We'll kind of go through question by question and see if there's one that maybe was unclear or maybe one that was miskeyed, and we've got to, adjust that. So we do go ahead and do that. And then once we do that and check the discussion board, your final grade would be posted into Canvas. Remember, again, we're going to be nurses, so we are learning about professionalism and accountability. So there really should be no reason why you don't show up for a test without giving prior notification. So I just want to throw that out there. You need to communicate with us so that it would be considered an excused absence. If there is a makeup test that is needed to take, there is going to be there's a day built into the calendar for your makeup test. And so that is when you would make up your test, whether it was week 1 that you missed your test or week 8. Okay. So we're not doing makeup tests throughout the semester. Everyone takes them all on the same day. And just a little tidbit, you know, makeup tests can really be any format. Most of our tests are going to be multiple choice, maybe some select all that apply, but they can really be any format. And especially those makeups, you know, it's not uncommon to maybe see a fill in the blank, essay, those types of things. So it's really at the discretion of the course faculty. I know you guys have seen the School of Nursing grading scale, so you can see A, B, C, and D. To be successful in this course, we know that we have to have a total average of greater than 76, as well as a test average of greater than 76. And we will talk about that a bit more in a minute. Reminder that if there are any academic accommodations that are needed, it's your responsibility to go through the appropriate process in order to get the appropriate documentation to us, right? Because we are unable to meet any accommodations or expectations without written documentation from the Office of Academic Support. So that's just a reminder, you've got to communicate that with us, okay? So we touched quickly on tests, and when we get to the syllabus review, I'll break it all down for you with percentages and all that so you guys have a clearer picture of it. One thing that we've added this year is an online medical terminology course. Okay, so once you register for this course, you are going to get instructions on how to access it. And we are actually working on a little video so that, you know, you guys we'll post this into Canvas before the start of class so you guys can kind of see how to get into this course. We are really excited about this course. Okay, so this course is going to help you recognize kind of specifically Greek and Latin prefixes and suffixes and combining words that are going to help you build medical terms. So you'll be able to look at a word and just from breaking down that word into, you know, certain prefixes, suffixes, or whatnot, you'll be able to tell the definition of the word. Okay, and so this is going to be very, very, very beneficial for you guys. We had some students that they use this in the accelerated program, and they just recently took the NCLEX, and they said that they went back and kind of redid a lot of these activities in this course prior to the NCLEX, and it really, really helped them. And it's going to be very, very beneficial, even if you don't know what the question is asking, if you can pick out that key word. Okay, I know what this means. What do I need to look for? Okay. So this is new for this year. We've had it in pathophysiology before, but not specifically this course. This is self-paced, okay? Meaning we're not gonna, you know, when we meet for class, we're not gonna say, hey, let's review module, you know, 1 of medical terminology. This is self-paced. I'm going to show you in a minute. We'll have some due dates for certain things, but this is something that you really need to kind of keep up with time management wise. I have developed a little bit of a topical outline to help you guys stay organized, which I will post in our Canvas course for you guys to look at before the semester starts. But what that's going to do is also really line up a lot of these things with the content that you're learning in health assessment as well. So if you're learning about the cardiovascular system in health assessment, we're going to be teaching it in pathophysiology, and then you're going to be you could potentially be doing a module in the medical terminology course that correlates with that to really kind of try to make it all come together. So we're really, really excited about this course. It's broken into 6 kind of mini courses or modules, they call it. You hear us call modules a lot. And you're going to be responsible for completing 5 of those. Okay. The activities in them are really fun and interactive. I've gone through basically every one. There's drop down things, there's audio things where you have to talk, there's audio where you have to listen, there's typing, there's case studies. It's very, very interactive. And, you know, so basically for each module, you'll have some practice quizzes that you can take, and then you'll take an exam. Okay. And that exam score is what is going to count towards your final grade. And we'll break that down, so don't stress about that. And like I said, there is going to be a video coming for more information on that. I'm also going to put aside a few minutes of the first day of class to make sure that you guys were all on the same page with this medical terminology course. So don't stress about it. We'll get through it. I don't know if the bookstore is lagging with it, but we will get through it together. Okay, so when we're talking about our medical terminology still, you can see that you will be responsible for 5 out of the 6 modules, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And you'll see that you'll have due dates. So all of the due dates for the exams within those modules are going to be Mondays, Monday nights at midnight. Okay. You'll also see that there's a final exam. So everyone will take the final exam. And what the final exam does is, as long as you have met your test average of 76, then you have the possibility of adding 1 to 4 points back to your lowest test grade. Okay. And so you'll see that there's a window for the final exam. So everyone's going to take it the same day. However, like I said, you will only be awarded those points if you have met that average of 76 with your test average. And again, similarly to, you know, these are due dates. So anything past these due dates, if they're not done, it would be considered late. Okay, so let's kind of break down the syllabus a little bit. We've talked a lot about what the course is kind of made up of, but now let's get to the kind of, you know, nitty gritty of things. So this course is didactic, meaning there's going to be no clinical aspect to it. So all going to be classroom, and it's going to build on concepts and principles from the basic sciences. So your microbiology, some chemistry, nutrition, A&P, right? So learning about A&P is really kind of normal, the normal body. So this is going to look at kind of the pathological response when there's an illness and a disease or something abnormal with going on within the body. And we'll look at physical, biochemical, microbial, and genetic factors that kind of alter the body's balance or homeostasis. Our course objectives line up with our BSN program outcomes, and you can see those here. So let's talk about your grade. Okay, so you are going to have 9 unit exams, okay, from the content that you learn in pathophysiology. And on my next slide, I'll show you, you know, you can see the breakdown of what we're actually going to learn about. So there is no comprehensive final. So each exam is just on basically one concept or one body system. Okay, so 9 unit exams accounts for 90% of your grade. This is your 76 test average. So you have got to meet that 76 test average in order to be successful in this course. If you see assignments, you have medical terminology assignments. That will also account for 10% of your grade. So those are going to be those 5 exams that you take from that medical terminology, those modules, those 5 exams they're each worth 2. And so that's going to equal the other 10% of your grade. Okay. So again, there's no clinical component in this course, but you've got to meet that 76% as your test average to be successful, and to get those potential bonus points back from your final exam for your medical terminology exam. Okay. So this is what our semester is going to look like. We're going to have 9 weeks of content, and you can see how it's kind of broken down. We start more on a cellular level, and then we move into the body systems. So 9 weeks. This is all just taken from the syllabus, which will be up in Canvas for you guys to refer back to. And so week 1, after you learn that content, you will just be tested on week 1's content. Okay. Week 2, you'll just be tested on week 2's contents. Not to say that you don't need to bring that information forward, because it's going to be helpful and beneficial for you to kind of be building on this. This is kind of your foundation for your nursing career. It's very, very important that we really try to learn this stuff and not, memorize it. Remember that you will have objectives for each unit, and you'll also have chapters, okay, to kind of help guide you as to what chapters you need to be reading. And you need to read the book as well. That you're not going to do well if you do not read the book. And like I said, all of our lectures are basically going to be in person. I think there's only one, because there was some conflict with some faculty development we had to do, that would be recorded. So they're going to be in person. You're going to have your discussion boards ahead of the test and then after the test for added clarification. Okay, and Mrs. Price is going to finish up with communication.
All right. Thank you, Miss McCullough. And like she said, we are really excited about this course. So just some things on communication, because this is probably one of my biggest areas of, I guess you would call it pet peeve. There are a couple of ways to communicate with us via email. One is through your Canvas course. You can actually email anybody in this course through Canvas, and you can email through Outlook. If you email through Canvas, it should send it to your Outlook. So you can actually do Outlook two ways. But just know that email is going to be the best way to get us. Number one, you can communicate a little bit more effectively. Typically, this course, there's really no reason for communication by cell phone because there's not a clinical component. We're not trying to keep up with you on a clinical rotation, or you notify us that you're late or you're sick for clinical or what have you. So email is going to be your best way to communicate. But you can do that through Canvas or through Outlook. Just remember, like Ms. McCullough mentioned earlier, if you email us after 4:30, there's a good chance you will not get a response until the next day, just because we're doing life after 4:30, whether it's small children or I'm a student myself, so I may be doing my schoolwork after 4:30, or yes, I may be in Oxford. So we do spend a lot of time there. But you do need to check your email. So here's where the pet peeve portion comes in. In the last year, especially, the pandemic has caused us a lot of flying by the seat of our pants. And I mean, minute by minute, hour by hour, we've had to change things for clinical, for class, just the way we do things, how we communicate, our locations, and we've had to keep up with students and change things quickly. The best way to do that is through email or through the announcement section in Canvas. It is your responsibility to check those every day. I would suggest twice a day. If we post an announcement that says we're not meeting in A102 due to the air conditioners out or whatever, and you show up to A102, then that's on you because we posted and said where we are. So make sure that you are checking the announcements and you are checking your emails, okay? If you email me and say, hey, Miss Price, I'm here, where are you? I'm probably not going to respond because we've already notified you where you are. I had a student last year that didn't show up for clinical for 15 minutes after they were supposed to be there. And when they did show up, I said, where have you been? The student said, well, I went to the floor. And I said, really? Because the other 23 of us are right here where the email said to meet. And they said, oh, I didn't check my email. Yeah, that probably would not be what you would need to say. So please check your emails and check the announcement board because that's where we're going to communicate with you guys. Okay. Let's see. We talked about the 4:30 thing. The discussion board, Ms. McCullough did talk about that. Just to reiterate, the discussion board, pretty much, and especially in a class this size, there is a very, very good probability if there is something you are not understanding, there is at least one other, if not 10 others, that are not understanding it too. So if you will post those questions, hey, can you go back over that stress response again? Or what did you say happened to your blood pressure or whatever? Somebody else needs that too. So that's really one of the benefits of that discussion board. It's not to argue. It's not to get into a heated discussion over a test question and why you thought, well, this is what I understood. And there's a chance that you may have understood it incorrectly. And so if it becomes one of those heated discussion or becomes a debate, then we do have the right and the authority to shut that discussion board down. So we want to use that as a tool for clarification and a learning opportunity for the entire class to have a benefit from. And it's just so much easier to do that in one place than to have multiple emails going back and forth between the two of us. Let's see. Remember when you are emailing to use proper grammar and try not to use a lot of slang terminology. Miss McCullough is younger than me quite a bit. So there's probably some terminology she will understand better than I will. I do have a 13-year-old at home and a 19-year-old, but some terminology I still don't like. Some of the little, what are the abbreviations through text message? I still have to ask, what does this stand for? Because I might not get it. So make sure that you are using professional grammar and not using some of those social media types of abbreviations and things in your emails. Make sure when you are using any type of, just like now when we're in the virtual setting, that you are dressed appropriately. Make sure that your cameras are pointing at your face and not somewhere else. Y'all have seen the commercials where the gentleman has got his suit on up top, but he's still got his lovely boxers on down below and his camera is pointed at his waist. So just make sure that that is the case if we have to meet virtually, that we can see your face and nothing else. Make sure your cameras are off if we do hit a bandwidth issue, because that does happen sometimes, and then things lag. And when they lag, then you can get miscommunication of information. And so we definitely do not want that to happen. So if we do have a Q&A, for instance, that is virtual, we may ask you just to turn your cameras off so that we make sure all that information is relayed the clearest way possible. We love seeing your faces. Believe me, we do. Like, I've been scanning through just to see everybody's faces and see, you know, oh, what are they wearing? Oh, I like their lamp or whatever, just because I'm one of those visual people. So I know, who is that laughing at me up there? I got to see who that is laughing. Alyssa's laughing at me. Okay. So, we're sorry, I'm very visual. And so a lot of patho is going to be interactive and going to be very visual. I think that was it on communication. What's the next slide, Miss McCullough? Required text. I think we've kind of gone over this. This should be in Canvas, ready for you to get. I do want to show you, for those of you that are like, I got to have a book, I can't do this ebook. This is your book. Now I'm going to turn it to the side. It's a big book, y'all. It's a big old book. And as a faculty, it was intimidating to me. Okay, but here's what I want you to understand. Ms. McCullough and I and the rest of your faculty know that there is absolutely no way in the next 2.5 years or 5 semesters that you can learn every work and every word in every book we're going to give you. There's a certain amount of information that we are going to make sure that you know and you understand to get out into practice as a safe nurse. We call that the amount of information that you need to know. Then there's a certain amount of information that's nice to know, maybe that we think you might experience it or you might come across it here at the medical center or a certain clinical area. And then there's some information that we call that is just nuts to know because it's just fun or it's exciting, or maybe we've experienced it in our clinical experience or our journey. But we're really going to focus on that information that you need to know. So don't get overwhelmed by the book. Don't try to highlight and highlight and highlight. Me and Ms. McCullough were looking at a little meme yesterday about this. If you start trying to highlight everything that you think is important, you're going to have a wet page that's going to break when you turn it because you have no clue what's important right now. Like, you'll be like highlighting the preface where it says who we give acknowledgement to and stuff because you don't know. You have no clue. You've never done this before. Okay, so don't freak out. Don't get hung up on that. All of us are here to make sure you get what you need to know. All right, and we are going to do a little video play-by-play for the medical terminology portion. All right. COVID-19, I'm beginning to think that's like a dirty word, but we want to have some t-shirts that say due to COVID, because everything, that's the excuse for everything. But just some things to reiterate and to go over. We still are living in some uncertain times, y'all. When you come to class, you will be wearing masks. It's not any fun. It really is not any fun. I love the fact that I can actually put on makeup everywhere and put on some lipstick for y'all today and sit in my office by myself and not have to wear a mask for a few minutes. So it's actually kind of nice. But in the classrooms, you will have to wear masks. You cannot eat or drink in the classroom, so don't even bother trying because you can't. Now, in between the breaks and during your lunches, you will be able to eat and drink. And of course, you will be leaving the classroom to do that. There's different areas. I would encourage you on pretty days to bring a blanket, go sit outside, get some fresh air. Y'all can picnic 6 feet apart, all that kind of good stuff. But we just can't do that in the classroom. That's just part of the UMC protocol. So I hate it. I'm sorry. It's not my rule. But we do have to obey it. So just to reiterate, if you are sick, do not come and share your germs with us. We love you. We will miss you, but stay at home. Okay. Because we don't know if you have strep. We don't know if you just have a cold. We don't know if you have COVID, and neither do you. And so we have to protect each other, because you've got to remember, we may be in the classroom from 9 to 12, but between 12 and 1, you're going to enter the main hospital to go and get your lunch. And so that is the main hospital. That is where our patients are and their family members. And so we've got to make sure that we're protecting the patients, even though we're not in the actual quote unquote clinical setting this semester. You do in Canvas, you do have the link to student employee health, so you can kind of see those guidelines. And by now you really should know what the symptoms of COVID are. And so if you have any of those, you need to stay at home. And I think Dr. Lee hit on the COVID vaccines. And since we're kind of finishing up, we just kind of wanted to reiterate that one more time. If that is something you desire to have, then you are lucky now, because you are a UMC student, so you qualify to get that, whereas you may not have qualified with all of the vaccination opportunities across the state up until this point, because you kind of had to have certain risk factors and qualifications to get the vaccine. So if that is something you desire, then welcome. You now qualify as a UMMC student. Did I miss anything on COVID before we get to that last cute little slide?
No, and I took the cute slide away. I kept it.
You're going to use it for later?
Yeah, I'm going to use it for later. Sorry, I'm real touchy-feely, guys, and I didn't want to scare you away with my emotions, but I think you're good, Mrs. Price, but does anyone have any questions? Just remember to reiterate with the COVID, you've got to go through the student employee health hotline. So we don't need emails. Hey, I'm not feeling really well. Like, should I come to class? Like, you can just go straight to the hotline, and they'll send you communication that you can send to us, basically documenting that they've told you that you need to not go anywhere until you have your test result. So yeah, at this point, everyone really should have access to the vaccine. But so Bailey, the image used for the medical terminology course, yeah, that is only online. Okay, because the activities are not made for really kind of in person. There's drop down boxes, there's they speak to you, things like that. So that is that is going to be online. Now, I'm also a paper person, so the fourth's actual pathophysiology, you can get either. So if you have the hard copy book, you could just do that at home. So the book that we have to wait for the bookstore. So has anyone been able to get to the I don't think it's in the bookstore yet. The actual online ISBN yet, but I can double check. Is anyone having a hard time getting any of these? Is it the Patho book that's kind of on back order?
I was able to get the Patho book on Amazon, but there was an e-commerce book that the bookstore told us that they had to wait for codes for, because it was the code from last year's program. And I was just wondering if that is the book that we're supposed to get the code from the bookstore for.
E-commerce. No, I mean, we didn't use this course last year, so they should have the updated ISBN. It's the same one from the slide, so I can double check on that. But I know that they're a little bit kind of, they don't have everything as of right now. And basically what me and Mrs. Price are going to do is, you have to register for the online medical terminology course. And then what we'll do is we'll show you what code you need to put in there as your kind of reference code in order to get to the appropriate course. So don't just hang tight. Don't stress about that. We'll get that up to you guys soon. Any other questions? I know Miss White kind of got bombarded with a lot of them. So you guys have my email on this presentation. I am happy to answer any emails. You have my office phone as well. I'm happy to answer any calls if you're just stressing about something, but we've still got a few weeks, before the start of the semester. And so they're still kind of, working things out. Yeah. And the online medical, I think it should only be about $41. But you're going to have that online access because that's how you're going to be taking the exams that are going to count towards your grade. Does that make sense? Like it's all going to auto-populate in the online course. So you can have a paper one as well if you want, but you're going to have access to that online in order to take the quizzes and exams. Okay, anyone else? We're so excited. It's going to be fun.
Hey, I'm on the phone with the bookstore. It looks like they have about 8 hard copies of the pathophysiology book that came in.
Okay.
So for those of you that do want a hard copy, just to give you a heads up, okay?
So John Michael, you should be able to, that's what I'm at, like you should be able to go through the bookstore and use that ISBN to register for that course. And that's what we'll clarify, but okay. I think that's it. Looking forward to seeing you all in person.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and break early for lunch. Again, we're going to remain in this room for your next presenters, who's going to be at 1 o'clock. So you have between now and then to go grab something to eat and take a little break. Just a reminder, be cognizant of your webcam. We don't want any unfortunate incidents. So if you don't want anyone seeing you eating lunch or doing anything else, please be sure to close that down. But we'll be back in this room at 1 o'clock, and we'll hear from Dr. McSorley and Jennifer Hargett. And then at 2 o'clock, we'll be breaking to meet with your faculty advisors in separate rooms. So thank y'all so much. All right, everyone, welcome back. I hope everybody had a good lunch break. We're going to pick back up with our agenda here. So first on the to-do list is Dr. Robin McSorley is going to meet with you guys. She is our Director of Clinical Simulation. Her and her team are going to introduce themselves to you guys, give you a brief overview of the clinical simulation areas and some of the activities that you'll be getting into as students here in the School of Nursing. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Dr. McSorley.
Thank you, Josh. Hello, everybody. How many of y'all are a little brain dead right now? Okay. Well, as Josh said, I'm the director of the Clinical Skills and Simulation Lab here at the UMC School of Nursing. We actually have a really good time, and you get to do a lot of hands-on learning. Even Mr. Bones here has worked himself to a frenzy. So, that's why he's looking a little rough today too. So I'm first going to go to the next slide so you can see who all works in our area. And I'm going to let everybody that is in the pictures introduce themselves. I'm hoping they're on the WebEx right now. But before I let them introduce themselves, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I graduated from the BSN the BSN program here in 1992, so I've been here a while. Then I finished the master's program in 2010. I have worked as an emergency room nurse. I've worked in an internal medicine clinic. And I decided midlife crisis when I hit 40 to go back and teach. But I think the sports car probably would have been more fun. But anyway, I've really enjoyed it. I've been working here for almost 11 years as a faculty, and then became the director of the Clinical Skills and Simulation Lab in 2015. So it's been a pretty interesting experience. So I'm going to go ahead and let my fellow coworkers introduce themselves. We'll let Dr. Lopez Lambert start.
Hi, y'all. I'm Dr. Lopez. I work with Dr. McSorley down here in the Clinical Skills and Simulation Lab. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy working with the team and I enjoy working with the students most of all, because you guys are the ones who are learning, and we want you to have those aha moments to where you realize, oh, I learned that in patho. Oh, I learned that in clinical. So this is where we have the best time. Skills Lab is not about grading, and it's not about saying, why did you do it that way? It's about let's do it again so you can learn it and do it better. I graduated from the BSN program back in 2002. I started with UMC at 2001 as a nurse tech. Then I finished my BSN in 2002. Gosh, it's been so long. I finished my master's with Dr. McSorley back in 2010, and I completed the DNP program in 2019. So I'm still kind of feeling my way with the leadership portion of the DNP program. All right, that's it for me.
Miss Hogg, are you on the line?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, my name is Miss Hogg, and yes, it is pronounced Hogg. A lot of people are scared to say that because they think it's going to offend me, but that is how you pronounce it. First and foremost, welcome to UMC. We are so excited to get to meet y'all in just a few weeks. So I graduated from here at UMC with my bachelor's and master's. So it's a great school. I've loved working here. My background is in pediatrics. So after I graduated from here, I went and worked at Blair Batson, fresh out of nursing school. And I've also worked in a pediatric clinic. So I've done some inpatient and outpatient. And I have been in nursing education for almost 6 years, with two of those the past 2 years being here at UMC. I worked in North Carolina for 4 years. So we're just excited to meet y'all and welcome.
Will, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm Will. I'm a simulation technician. I do not have a background in nursing. I graduated with a degree in biomedical engineering from Mississippi State. I run a lot of your simulations as far as the programming and the implementation of the mannequins.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm going to continue to make y'all a little dizzy with this Prezi. Okay, I'm going to show y'all just some pictures of some of the lab rooms that y'all will be going to. The room in this picture, it's A136. It's on the first floor of the School of Nursing, and it's set up kind of like a clinic room. It has 2 clinic beds in it, and we're going to actually move a stretcher back in there. If you'll notice, there's kind of like a picture of something sitting on this little table over there. They also perform advanced health assessment practices as far as practicing doing rectal exams, pelvic exams. So that happens to be one of the what we call task trainers set up, thankfully with the sheet over it, because you don't want to see what's under it. So that's one of the rooms that y'all actually will be practicing in with your clinical group. So when y'all do come on campus, just kind of walk around, you know, the first floor, the basement, you know, to kind of get a feel for the rooms and where they're located. We also have down in the basement, in A032, it has a badge access to get in this particular room, and it is our debriefing room, or one of our, what we've used as a debriefing room, of which we have since moved a lot of that over to the classroom wing, and I'll show you some pictures of that in just a minute. But on occasion, faculty will still run a simulation activity in our basement. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. And then they'll go in this room and then they'll talk about it. So, you know, how was that? How did that make you feel? You know, taking care of Miss Smith, you know, kind of tell me a little bit about it. And so you'll actually get to, you know, express your feelings for how it went. And you and your classmates will talk about it, the activity that you just performed, the simulation activity, in a little bit deeper. We also, down in the basement, we have a 6-bed skills lab room that we used to use for a lot of our simulation activities. If you will notice, they have dividers in between some of the rooms that we can kind of divide off and have some separation, but each of the areas has a hospital bed in it, and it has access to simulated oxygen on a head wall and simulated medical air and also suction. And that way, you know, if your patient's having trouble breathing, you can elevate the head of their bed, you can pull out the oxygen cannula from the bag over here and place it on the patient. And you can actually turn up a little flow meter and give your patient some oxygen to help them breathe better. But the rooms are set up with a bunch of different equipment in there that you can utilize while performing skills activities in there, or, you know, taking care of your patient. We don't call these mannequins dummies. They're not dummies. They're all patients. Most of the time they'll have armbands on. So, you know, we want you to walk over there and talk to them, look at their arms, armbands, you know, determine who they are. So I don't know if y'all played with dolls as children, but guess what? As adults, you're going to, and you're going to treat them like patients, because we want to get y'all ready for taking care of patients in the clinical setting. So hands-on, you know, and then we'll be doing different things to these mannequins to make them more realistic. Like we have something called fecal spray. I'll give you one guess what that smells like. So we want to try to bring some of the smells that you're going to experience in the clinical unit. We'll have wounds on the mannequins, and we'll have, you know, like maybe green stuff coming out of their trachs that you can suction. So we do add a lot of things to it just to try to add some of the realism to what you're, you know, going to experience in the clinical unit. We have a brand new lab area, which is a big skills area. We have 12 hospital beds that are used as skills stations, and we also have another area that we use as a community area. So we have 13 mannequins and beds in this particular room, but like I said, one's a community setting and the rest of them are skills stations. These are mannequins that you're going to perform a variety of skills on, such as inserting urinary catheters, tracheostomy suctioning, cleaning, injections, placing nasogastric tubes, starting IVs. So you're going to be doing a lot of different activities. So go to the next one. We also have another area that we gained access to over the last year, and it's what we refer to as the classroom wing. The classroom wing is actually a building that is located behind the School of Nursing building. It is a 3-story building, and we will be utilizing the second floor. The second floor has 4 simulation suites, and it also has 4 debriefing rooms. So you will be taking care of mannequins over there that when you put your stethoscope on their chest, you can actually hear heart sounds, lung sounds. You can hear them, breathing, wheezing, all kinds of things. You can feel an arm for a pulse. Some of our mannequins actually, their chest will rise and fall. They will blink. They will not get out of bed and come after you. If they do, then I'm heading out of here too, because that could be a problem. Some areas you really don't want to get caught in the dark. So, but anyway, we even have a little newborn simulator that we refer to as newborn Tori. Can cry, can wheeze, can grunt, can start an IV on Tori. Just all different types of things. Tori can become a girl. Tori can become a boy. I mean, we can interchange our mannequins to be whoever we want them to be. And these are just some pictures of some of the simulation setups that we've had. We also have monitors in the rooms that will show their vital signs. And like I said, you can also feel different areas on them to feel for a pulse, heart, all of that. And here's another picture of some of our other high fidelity mannequins that we obtained many years ago. And these are not being used as much. And actually, our wonderful sim man, he's kind of not with us anymore, but I just wanted to show y'all that we have, a few other. We also have a radiant warmer that we can put our newborn infant under to keep them warm, to dry them off after they've, been delivered. We have a birthing mother. Her name's Victoria. She is really neat. So y'all will get to see her when you do your maternal child, when you're in that class and performing simulations in there. There's a variety of things that students have performed while on campus, and this was prior to COVID. I hope that we get to do this again, or that y'all will get to do this again. But multiple health screenings were performed around campus. That was related to the course that you're going to take this summer in 302 Health Assessment. After students learned how to perform blood pressures and check heart rates and respiratory rate, they actually got to go to different areas on the campus and perform those on patients, just to get a good feel for it and practice, performing those particular skills that, they had just learned. There's also other activities that we have done with students, just to kind of help them learn how, to handle patients that have trouble breathing. So they would breathe through a straw, and that represented, difficulty breathing like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Even would wear glasses that kind of had yellow, visual problems, tactile problems. So some different activities that we have performed with students. There's also other activities such when you do your Adult Health 1 class next spring, you will be doing a preclinical CPR where you will perform chest compressions on a mannequin to really get the feel for the proper depth, rate, and all of that. And as far as bagging to give the patient oxygen, then different skills such as starting IVs, maintaining nasogastric tubes, suctioning a trach. So there's a variety of skills that you're going to actually get to work with and learn how to do, and you'll be performing them on some of the mannequins that we have. And then there's a variety of different presentations that you'll be involved with in different classes. And these were some school activities that our students went to, was called Discover Nursing Day. So hopefully that will be able to go back into progress once schools start opening back up, because I'm telling you, the kids in these schools love to see the nursing students come, because they got to do so many different things. And this is our next generation of nurses. So y'all play a huge role in, making an impact on these kids in school. So I'm really hoping that y'all will get to have an opportunity to work with students. We also, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Kat Cora. She was an Iron Chef on the Food Network. She actually came and visited our school. Her mother, who has since passed away, was one of our faculty. But that was really neat when she came and she got to check out some of our mannequins and setups and stuff like that. And, it was really an honor to have her visit our school. We also are involved in a lot of interprofessional education activities. Here, I just kind of wanted to show you how we've progressed over the years. We initially started with medicine students and nursing students, and we would put a privacy screen in between the two students. They would get on their cell phones and they would call what they called an SBAR report, to each other. That's how we started. Then we progressed to them caring for a patient at the bedside. This down here was actually a picture of our interprofessional education activity with School of Medicine, School of Pharmacy, and School of Nursing, which was held at the classroom wing in February and March of this year. So, they were able to take care of a patient then. They were able to work together. We're hoping next year to move from a mannequin in the bed to actually a real person in the bed. So that way you can communicate with the patient, you can communicate with each other. Even when we do have the mannequin in the bed, we actually talk for the patient behind a screen. There's a microphone attached to them, so we can answer whatever questions y'all ask us when you're talking to the patient and caring for them in the simulated environment. And years past, we have also had something called Family Day. Our senior students several years ago, they were like so excited that they were, fixing to graduate. And it meant a lot to them to be able to bring their family in to let them see, where have you been the last 2 years? What have you been doing? Just think about all that you're going to get to go through. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, as we say it, when you're in, teaching or in school and any of that. So they wanted to share that with their family. So that's an activity that we have actually had. One of the students in this picture is actually performing chest compressions on the mannequin. One year we had one of the nursing students, she came running in, hopped on top of that patient, and started doing chest compressions while they were straddling him because she was too short to stand on the stool. See, if you notice in the picture, this girl is almost too short because she's having to lean up and over. And everybody started dying out laughing when the student came and hopped on the patient and started doing chest compressions. And she said, "I've saved him." So they got a lot of fun out of that. So I'm hoping that y'all will get to do that once everything's is getting back to some kind of normal. We have also another activity that we have with standardized patients. We call them simulated participants or standardized patients. Those are real people that come in and they represent, they have whatever symptom these students are trying to, determine what's going on with the patient. They'll ask them questions and, they will be whatever is going on. So maybe one of these patients had schizophrenia. Another one might have had, bipolar disorder. It was some type of, behavioral health issue going on. And the students have to work on communicating with these patients and providing a safe environment and providing therapeutic communication and all of that. So your senior year, you will actually be involved in a simulation related to that. With all of our simulated activities, we pass out a learner opinion survey. And so one of the things we want y'all to do early on is to download like a free QR code app, and you can actually, scan the barcode, and it will ask you several questions on it. And we're looking to see, do you feel like the objectives for the simulation was met? Give us some feedback on it. This is your perception of how the activity went. You know, was the scenario realistic? Was the pre-brief, we just ask a variety of questions. So I'm just pretty much trying to show y'all when you fill out surveys, there's data that is collected, and I'm the one that runs the data. And then this right here was feedback from the students. And so I share this information with faculty, and that's what we use to improve moving forward from year to year with each group of students. We want to know what do you like the most? What do you like the least? What are areas of improvement? So it's your opportunity to provide feedback to us to let us know, is this working for you? Is it beneficial? And that way we can make changes as we go. We also have a Facebook page. So when you get a chance, we would like for y'all to like Agent 3G on Facebook. And you can look at that and then see a variety of activities that are going on. There's several posts, like when simulation's finished, one of our faculty will take pictures and upload it. So go back and be sure and like Agent 3G and go back and look at some of the activities that have been going on. So that way that kind of gives you an idea of some things that we do. We also, when you come to lab, we're going to have you sign a simulation laboratory policy participation, some forms. It's a front and back, because when we do simulations, we will record them, and certain things we need to know, are you okay with us recording? Because we use that to provide feedback to students, faculty, and all of that. So those are some things that it will be sent to the course coordinator for your N302. Then that way they will get it to you and you can sign it, and then they'll make sure that we have received it. So when the day is all and done and everything is completed, this is probably how you're going to feel. But I hope you enjoyed the little bit of brief presentation into what our area is like. And we so look forward to seeing y'all and getting started with y'all, because we have a lot of fun and it's so much learning. Oh, I mean, you're going to be so shocked a year from now, looking back and saying, oh my goodness, I know how to do this. I can recognize this. So we look forward to working with y'all and being a part of our wonderful School of Nursing team. Dr. Lopez Lambert, Ms. Hogg, or Mr. Will Godfrey, do y'all have anything you want to add?
Yeah, welcome and do your best.
Do y'all have any questions for us? Are y'all excited? I'm a nurse. What's your superpower? It's a great profession. So we really look forward to y'all coming and having fun with us and learning in the process. Okay. Unless anybody else has anything to add, I'll shoot it back to you, Josh.
Thank you so much, Dr. McSorley. Please remember to exit out of your shared screen there, because I think Dr. Hargett's going to be next here to speak. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
All right, so up next, we have Miss Jennifer Hargett. She's going to speak with you guys about the ExamSoft software. just give you a brief overview of that. So Jennifer, I believe you are on the call. I will turn it over to you.
Good afternoon. I am here and I see a question from Scarlett right at the end. It says, when do we start these simulations? You will have some many little small opportunities at simulations this summer where you will have an opportunity to do some take some simulated blood pressures on like some little mannequin arms and listen to some mannequin lung sounds and stuff like that. So you will get to jump in with 2 feet. So hello. My name is Dr. Jennifer Hargett. I think it may say Miss Hargett. I've only been a doctor for about 5 minutes, so I'm not used to saying it. They're not used to saying it, so pardon us if we forget. I am going to go into presentation mode and I'm going to figure out, how to share my screen. And let's see if this works. Ta-da. Okay, I think it worked. Oh, wait, I lost my chat box. Hold on, chat box. Let me move this chat box over here. All right, guys, I think we are cooking with fire. Welcome. Okay, so my name is Dr. Jennifer Hargett. I am one of your faculty members here in the traditional undergraduate program. I also, just as one of my additional duties, help administrate ExamSoft. And ExamSoft is the software that we use for secure testing here at the School of Nursing. So you will be in person starting on June 1st for all of your classes, all of your clinical experiences, your lab experiences. You will do testing in person, and even though it sounds crazy, you will still take your tests on a computer, but you will take them in person via a computer. And so you will come to class. Your class will tell you what room you will go to. It'll be A102, A035. They'll tell you ahead of time so you'll know where to go. You will have a piece of software you install on your computer called ExamSoft. And the portal you'll go through is called Examplify, and it's a secure online testing product. The website you will go to download it is right there, examsoft.com/UMC Nursing. It may ask for your institutional ID, and the institutional ID is UMC Nursing. And the administrator for it is me, Dr. Hargett. Okay, so I set up access for 121 of you this morning. I see that there is slightly more than 121 people online. I think there was 2 or 3 people who I had on my Excel spreadsheet who I did not have a UMC email address for. Assuming I set it up correctly, y'all should have around 9:30 or 10 o'clock this morning received an email from ExamSoft with a username and a password. Did any of you get that email? Did it go through? Did I do it right? Did anybody get an email from ExamSoft with a username and password? I see 2 people's heads. I see 1 head shaking. Nobody, no email from Bailey. Nope. Oh, this is my sad face. No. Oh man, I set it up where it should have emailed you all. Okay. Well, good news and bad news. It looks like no one got the email, so it doesn't look like anyone sent it up. So you all have access to it. You just don't know your username and password, so you're not gonna be able to log in today, it looks like it. And so that's fine. You don't have to go log in today. We'll still talk about it today. I have one more little piece of bad news, and that is I finished this doctorate about 5 minutes ago, and I'm going on vacation tomorrow before y'all come and start class. So it will be fixed probably early next week before y'all actually start classes. So I promise I will get it fixed, but it will not be fixed tomorrow. I promise. Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about ExamSoft and what it is. So you should have received an email, but you didn't, and that's okay. We were going to get it worked. And it will go to your UMC email address, and it was supposed to have sent you your password. Once you get that email, it will give you instructions on your username and the password. And then once you get into it, it will give you a mock test. And the mock test is going to be essentially, I'm going to give you a fake test that you can go in, you can download the test, and you can see what it looks like to take a test at the School of Nursing. And I'm just going to give you some little screenshots of what it looks like, just so that you can be kind of prepared for what it's going to look like. So when you go to examsoft.com/UMC nursing, this is what it looks like. You're going to log in over here where it says exam takers. Your student ID is going to be our UMC email address. So like jhargett@umc.edu, and then the password is whatever ExamSoft sets up for you. You're welcome to change that as well once you log in. So you'll click to log in there. Once you log in, you will download the program. Will be called Examplify. Examplify can be on exactly one piece of equipment, okay? So whatever piece of hardware you're going to bring to school to take tests on needs to be the piece of hardware that you download Examplify on. So if you have like a desktop at home, you don't need to download Examplify on your desktop at home because you're not going to be able to like log your desktop up here to take your test on. For test security reasons, they will only let you have it on one piece of hardware. So if for some reason you download it on a laptop and then you end up getting a new laptop, you're essentially going to have to like let your license on that device go and then download it on a new one. So you'll have a little icon on your desktop that looks like this. It'll be for Examplify, and it'll look like this little piece of software here. Any tests that you've previously downloaded will show up here. Any tests that are ready for download will be here, and you can just click that little arrow to download it. This is the preview exam, but it would look like that as well for you. It would just say download exam instead of download exam preview. So I'll go in and download my exam, and the teachers will email you whenever your tests are ready for download. Usually it'll be a couple of days before the test starts, and the system will automatically email you as well. So you have a couple of days to download the test before the test begins, and then the cutoff to download it is about 10 minutes before the test. So if this test starts at 8:30 in the morning, you have until at 8:20 in the morning to download the test. So you'll bring your laptop with Examplify on it to the school with you. You'll come into the room, you'll have your proctor in the room, and you'll have your desk cleared, and we'll talk about our testing policies, and you'll go ahead, and whenever you're ready, you'll click start exam once you're ready to start the exam. Once your proctor in the room tells you you're ready to go, you'll click that you're authorized to start the test. You'll click the green button to start the test, and then it'll kind of look like this. There's lots of different questions. You can have multiple choice. This one is one that has a picture on it, so sometimes they'll have one with a picture. They put some little cats there. There can be hotspot questions, fill in the blank, that kind of stuff. So ExamSoft is a free software program. The cost for it was included in the tuition, so it's not anything additional that you do need to buy. You do need to be sure that you have the most recent version of Adobe Reader on your laptop if you don't already have it. So you can just go out and just Google Adobe Reader. Make sure it is updated, and I will also be sure that I put a Adobe PDF in our practice test for you to use as well, because sometimes there will be a test item that will have an attachment, be it a medication label that you need to calculate the medicine, a picture that you need to look at and say like, ooh, what is this rash or something funky. So you want to be sure that that image will display on your machine. So you always want to be sure you have the most recent version of Adobe on your machine that you'll be testing on. Your faculty will email you whenever your test is available. You will download that test to your personal laptop, to your one personal laptop, and then they'll give you the deadline for your test download, which is usually 10 or 15 minutes before the time to take the test. You must follow all of your instructions and testing guidelines for testing at all times. Once you're in the room and seated and ready to begin your test, the proctor in the room with you for your test will give you a test password, and it will be a combination of upper and lowercase letters and numbers, and you will type that in, and that is what will allow you to actually open and access your test and to begin to input your answers. Okay, so you will access the test, you will put in your password. Once you put that password in, ExamSoft is like a lockdown browser, so it totally will lock your computer down. You're not going to be able to open another tab. You're not going to be able to navigate to other things. You're not going to be able to do anything really, okay? If you attempt to exit, if you exit the exam, if you try to use other devices, if you try to screenshot, if you attempt to
get into the exam before the exam time. If you do any kind of sketchy stuff in ExamSoft, A, we can keep track of it. And B, any kind of those kinds of things are considered academic dishonesty. And I'm just telling that. I know y'all, nobody comes here with the intention that they want to cheat. But sometimes people get in a bind where you are in a spot where you have to do well to pass a class. And so we have had instances before where a student needs to do well on an exam, and we get into ExamSoft and we notice something weird is happening. And then we can look and see between 2 and 3 a.m. a student has tried to put in a test password 47 times that they've just typed in a bunch of gobbledygook because they've tried to guess the password. And A, that doesn't work, and B, that is academic dishonesty and will 100% get you sent out of the program. So don't try it. A, we can tell, and B, you will get kicked out. So let me just throw that out there at the beginning. Don't try. So once you're in the room, we will give you the password, and at that point you can go into the test and you will take your test. So then you're clicking through along and you're going to take the test, take the test, take the test, and you're going to get done with your test. When you are done with your test, you are going to be able to review your test, which is great, which is something that I wish I would have had when I was in nursing school. So they will also have a review password, and they'll usually put them up on the bulletin board at the front of the room. So you'll again have a review password that you'll type in, and you can view any items that you missed and any rationale. So letter A is incorrect because of this reason, letter B is incorrect because of this reason, letter C is incorrect because of this reason, and so this is why letter D was right and why you should have picked that one. And so it'll give you usually about 10 minutes to go through and look at any of the questions that you missed and the reasons why you missed them. And so you're able to go through and look at any of those questions that you missed, okay? Then once you have reviewed any items that you missed, you are able to go and exit Exemplify. Once you exit out of that test, you cannot go back in. And so if you forget to click, oh yeah, I want to review the test, or enter your review password, you're not able to go back in and review it. So be sure you click that you want to review it. Once you're able to do that, it will show you your score briefly. The score that shows in ExamSoft is not your final score. After every test, faculty will do a test review where we look to see there's the possibility that maybe we have miskeyed an item, maybe we clicked the wrong button, maybe there's a question we asked you that just y'all do really bad on, and maybe we did not do a good job teaching you, and we're just going to give you all credit for it. There's lots of things that can happen. So we will review and make adjustments if we need to, if there's any items that need adjustments. And then we will put any final scores that you have into Canvas. So the Canvas score, once we put it into Canvas, that is your final score. Okay, so once you're done reviewing your test, you've seen your grade, it will search for Wi-Fi and it will upload your answer file. And when it uploads your answer file from ExamSoft, you will see a green check mark and a green screen, and it'll say like upload is successful. And what it does is it takes that file that you downloaded onto your computer and it just sends it to ExamSoft and says, here's the file, here's what Anna Grace Gill, you're just the most recent name that I see. Sorry, Anna Grace. This is what Anna Grace made. She made a 100 on that test because I called her name out. And it lets us see. If for some reason you're not able to upload at the time that you click finish your exam, that is okay. Don't stress. You can go back and click on that icon and go back into your portal and find that file and attempt to upload again. Sometimes if your Wi-Fi blinks up right at the time that you finish the test, it will not want to upload, especially if a lot of people are finishing at the same time. You may overwhelm the servers, but you have up to 24 hours up after the test to upload the file. If for some reason your computer is acting crazy and it will not let you upload within a little bit, notify me and I can extend that deadline out. But what I need to know. And so if it's been a couple of hours and you cannot get that test to upload, we cannot see your score. And so we cannot give you a grade for that test unless you let us know what's going on. So just if you have any issues, let me know. And I can fix it for you, but I can't fix it if I don't know. So if it's been more than 24 hours and you've not let us know, your teacher may give you a score of 0 because we don't we don't have a test to give you a grade for, if that makes sense. Okay, so you show up and it's 8:25 and you click to start the exam and you say, oh, snap, I forgot to download the test. Let's not do that, okay? So if you don't download the test, there's not a file on your computer, so you'll have to take a makeup at the discretion of the faculty. The makeup tests are at the end of the semester. You don't want to take one. If you do that every week, you may have a point penalty. So plan to download your test before you get here, if at all possible. It just helps make sure that you have good internet connections. If you have software or hardware issues at the time of testing, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. We will usually allow you a makeup exam. Sometimes if it's something critical like, oh my gosh, my computer just froze, the battery melted and caught on fire and we had to get the fire extinguisher, don't stress. I mean, be sad about your laptop, RIP that laptop, but it's going to be okay. We will usually have 1 or 2 emergency pieces of paper tests with us. Sometimes weird stuff happens, like I downloaded the file, it's right here, but now it won't open, or my computer just froze and died. And we can work through those. And so we may either give you a paper test or we may have you take a makeup, and it just kind of depends on how much warning we have that that's going to happen and if we have enough things printed. If you have repeated or ongoing issues, or if it's something that I can't easily troubleshoot on your computer, I may have you contact Exemplify customer support. So I may say, Reagan Williamson, I don't know how to fix this on your computer. I need you to call ExamSoft and I need you to report back what they told you, because I don't know how to fix that. So we may make you call them to resolve the issue, especially if it's something that I don't know how to fix. And because all of our testing through all of this whole 5-semester program is done online, it is going to be your responsibility to make sure you have a functional computer. So it is terrible, and it makes it really inconvenient if you have technology program problems. But we do not have tons of loaner computers. We do not have a great computer lab, unfortunately, for you to use. So you've got to have a good, reliable, functional laptop, even if it's, the Equate brand, something with some Wi-Fi connectivity that you can take a test on. If it's held together by duct tape, that is okay. Come on, we got to take some tests on a laptop of some kind. Because that's what we got to do. And we got to get it to last for 2 years, and then we can let it go once you got a paycheck and get you something good. Okay. So you got to have a working laptop, unfortunately. Okay. Bloop. All right. During the test itself, arrive early. Y'all know, if you're not from Jackson, nobody in Jackson can drive if there's 2 sprinkles of rain anywhere in the forecast. Nobody. So arrive early, okay? The parking situation sometimes can be out of control. So just plan, if it's an 8:30 test, plan to be here at like 7:45, 8 o'clock, etc. Like every test you've probably taken in your whole life, we're going to be ticky about the stuff just to make sure you don't cheat. You think people don't want to cheat, but somebody gonna want to cheat. There's 125 of you. There's probably at least one of y'all that's gonna want to cheat. So you cannot have anything at your seat. So all of your book bags, purses, personal belongings need to be at the very, very back of the classroom or the very, very front of the classroom. You cannot wear any hats of any kinds. Any ID badges need to come off. Any water bottles, coffee cups, those kinds of things need to be on the floor or with your personal belongings. You have any big jackets and stuff that can't be in your lap for you to hide your notes in them. They need to be hanging on the back of your chair. Everyone listen with your listening ears. You cannot have any cell phones, Bluetooth capable devices, PDAs, Apple Watches, AirPods, Bluetooth, whatever, iPads, Apple phones, Tamagotchis, notebooks. Anything, okay? Nothing but your computer and your brain, okay, to take your test with. That's it. No study materials, okay? I would encourage you to have your computer battery to be fully charged before you get to this place, because there are more often of you, there's more of you guys than there is functional chargers. Okay. There's sometimes enough, but sometimes not. During a test, if you raise your hand and you're like, Miss Hargett, what does this word mean? We not, Dr. Hargett, see, I keep forgetting. Dr. Hargett, what does this word mean? We're not going to tell you, okay? We're not going to define terms. We're not going to help you with the answers. Now, if there is an obvious typographical error, or like it's not letting you click a button, or a technology issue, absolutely raise your hand. We will be happy to help, but we will not answer questions about test content, defined terms, that kind of things, okay? And if you get busted with a cell phone, smartwatch, tablet, notes, notebook, Band-Aid wrapped around your finger with notes on it. I'm watching TikTok. I've seen all the cheating notes on TikTok. So I know what y'all are doing. Okay. You're going to get a 0 on the test. Okay. And it's real hard to bounce back from a 0. Okay. Helpful hints to make sure that ExamSoft works well with your computer. If you have a PC-based computer, I would encourage you to disable your firewall, especially before a test. You are welcome to turn it back on after your test if you can remember to turn it back off and on. Anytime your computer starts to go into something that is not the test during the test, your computer is going to freak out and think that you're trying to tab out of it. So the number one thing that it tries to do that is your automatic updates. So if you have a PC and you have automatic updates, I would encourage you to turn those off. So again, I don't know exactly what button that is. I would just Google turn off auto updates, and whatever that is, just follow those instructions. Because if you show up for a test and it's 8:15 and your computer starts updating and it's 8:30 and it's time to test and your computer's still doing updates, you can't take the test. Is problem 1. And problem 2 is if you're on question 20 of 40 and then it tries to go into an auto update, it can lock your computer down and it will stop your test and it'll lock your test and you can't get back in. The other thing is you may need, if you have a particularly aggressive antivirus, like a really super aggressive antivirus, you may have to turn that off before your exam if you have one that you've had problems with before. What if we have a MacBook? Do you know how to turn notifications off for a MacBook? Kristen, I have this was privately, so sorry, I'm sharing it with the whole class. But I don't know really much about a MacBook. I've never owned a MacBook before. That sounds like a great question for Google. I'm sure we could figure that one out. I bet we can figure that one out. Yes. So turn off auto updates, especially if you are PC based. I have not ever had a MacBook do an auto update and mess somebody up. I have had that happen on a PC based problem. I have had antivirus problems on both PC and Mac. Yes. Okay. Cool things on ExamSoft that may be helpful to you. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, look, there's a Millie that has go to the top right with 3 lines, click on it and scroll up to do not disturb. Yes, that sounds perfect. Yes, took test through Honor Lock. It's probably very similar if y'all had Honor Lock or other types of remote monitoring type stuff. You'll be able to see these whenever you go into your little practice test here in just a bit. As you go through and take your test, you're able to highlight keywords. If you're seeing an answer, you're like, well, I know it's not that one. You can strike it out. There's times that we will learn math and then we'll have a calculator function get added in there. There's a timer so that you can count down how long it's going to last. The best source for ExamSoft help, I don't know if y'all have figured this out. All of my degrees are in nursing. So I have a bachelor's degree in nursing, a master's degree in nursing, and a doctorate degree in nursing. And not in like DIS or computers or anything. I've never owned a MacBook. All of my experience has been PC based, and this is my first year administrating ExamSoft, so I've been learning as I go. So I can help you with really basic stuff like, have you tried turning it off and back on again? Let's try it from a different browser, like that kind of stuff. but I am not your number one best super tech support person. So I didn't know anything about how to go on Do Not Disturb on an Apple. So I really appreciate all that help with that one. Beyond that, if it gets into really complicated stuff, I will often refer to you to ExamSoft customer support. They have an email and a phone. I know y'all are of the generation that does not love to call on the telephone, okay, but sometimes you will get a quicker response from the telephone than you will from sending it. Sorry, I'm trying to stop sharing my screen. You'll get a quicker response from the telephone than from the email, even though I know y'all would probably prefer to email it. Okay, so I'm going to figure out how to get all of you guys your username and password because it was definitely supposed to have sent this morning. Has anybody used ExamSoft before? It's the same thing that they use with the bar exam. I see one person holding their hand up. Hannah Smith has used it before. If y'all have any friends that are lawyers, they give the bar exam using the software, so it should be pretty secure theoretically. Is there a browser that works best? It usually works best on Chrome or Firefox. In my experience, it does not play super nice with Internet Explorer, but really nothing really plays nice with Internet Explorer. And then what's the Apple one I've done forgotten? Safari. It does okay with Safari. I have not had huge problems with Safari. Yes. Are most of y'all Apple people at this point? I probably need to get an Apple just so I can. Okay, I see a few no's. Yes, I'm with you. I probably need to get an Apple computer just so that I know what y'all are doing one of these days, but I don't want to pay for it. I got mine for ExamSoft. I went to the website and clicked and don't know student ID, entered my email. I sent the ID into my password and it allowed me to. Yes, so your username for ExamSoft will be your email, like first initial last name at umc.edu. Interesting. Okay. I don't know why one person got their email. Interesting. Okay. What else can I help y'all with? Are y'all excited? Scratch paper. Have we not told y'all about the scratch paper alternative? Okay, great. I'll be the person to break the scratch paper to you. And it's going to sound crazy, but it's for a reason. Okay, so y'all are all going to go to the dollar store, like literally the dollar store or the dollar spot at Kroger, or not Kroger, Target, or somewhere like that. And you're going to get a very small whiteboard, like one like this big, like a little tiny dry erase board. Okay, like a teeny one, and an expo marker. And that is what you'll use for scratch paper with your test. And you just have to wipe it clean before you can leave the room for a test. And you're going to set every reminder on every device. Apple Watch. Oh my God. I have my light switch in my desk is on a auto dimmer, and I must have been sitting really still while I talked because the lights just turned off. You're going to remind yourself to bring it for tests. Yes, because it's a test security if y'all walk out with the paper. So you're going to bring a little tiny dry erase board and an expo marker, like yay, tiny big, for like literally $1 at Dollar Tree. Yes. Okay. If you have a new MacBook, make sure you download the M1 version of Chrome or it will drain your battery very quickly. Ooh, oh, okay. I did not know that. I had a computer and it shut down completely, and Apple basically said, keep it as a brick because it'll never work again. Make sure you have Rosetta set up. I don't know what any of that means. Oh, interesting. Y'all are blowing my mind. Okay, yes. Will scratch paper be allowed during testing? Anyway, yes. So you can have that little white board with the dry erase marker. Yes. And either like a little eraser or like a little piece of tissue paper or Kleenex or something to go with it. What is Rosetta? I don't even know. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to get a DIS certification to manage this software or something. Transition software. Jeez Louise. Okay. Well, I guess I will hand it back over to Josh. I'll see y'all, a few of y'all this summer in the lab. A couple of you will probably be in my group. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Thanks so much, Dr. Hargett. All right, guys. Well, we've hit that point in the day where we've gotten through all the general orientation stuff and we're ready to break out into your faculty advisor groups. I know there's been quite a few throughout the day I've been emailing back and forth with to make sure that we've provided you your links. So I think at this point, everybody is good to go. Go ahead and log in to that separate room. And then afterwards, when that's finished up, you'll be meeting with your house leaders to, just kind of get to know them and get some questions answered from a student perspective. So I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions for them as well. So thank y'all so much. If there's anything you need, please email me and let me know. I'm sorry that we crammed so much information all at once. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to nursing school. So please don't be scared off just yet. It'll get better, I promise. So thank y'all so much. Have a great day, and let me know if you need anything. Bye-bye.